So Eric says he's running away.
We should start. Maybe we can change the order of the agenda to public Can we push up? I don't remember where is public comment.
We have two. So one after the item needing the approval, and then one after.
Okay, so it'll come quick. Okay, do we have
Hey Sonia, how are you? Good to see you. Yes. Have you been?
I've been good. I've been good. Busy.
Hey,
I just bought my first house
Oh, you did?
like 20 minutes ago.
Oh, fresh, huh?
see if their adrenaline is pumping
I'm exhausted.
or the emotional.
And then I moved tomorrow.
Holy cow.
One of the regrets. Where'd you get it? Or which area?
Just basically like 5 minutes more north on Glenwood.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Congratulations. You haven't had a panic attack about it yet?
That's what I was saying. Look,
Yeah.
when is the result starting to set in?
No. After
That's a
signing
good sign.
1,000 documents today, no.
Yeah, exactly. It was good. I kept texting your mom and be like, can I be my basketball? It was driving me crazy. She's like, we're serious. How long did it Oh, okay.
Sonia, you good? No more headache?
No, not
Okay.
today.
Okay.
My migraine is
Oh, really?
How did you end up treatment?
I took you breath.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
my
I like that he knows what happened. I didn't even
Is it like the heat, like the change of weather, or is that what's happening?
weather,
Yeah.
fit. Yeah. Have you started going to
Yes, I did. I read some of them. I think
Any
there's something.
stand out?
Huh?
Do any stand out?
Yeah, I think there's like 2 or 3.
Yeah, I got one that sent out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have like, I think 2 keys and a sheet.
Okay, we're gonna get started shortly. Thank you very much for your patience, everyone. We're supposed to be in the larger venue, but as you can tell, after the asbestos and lead removal, now we're doing buffing. So this is where we are, so we're gonna be a little bit cozy. Thank you again for your time. A few items. If we have anyone that needs translation, we have an amazing translator here today, so please yourself so you can make that happen. And then, so there's also a sign-up sheet for public participation. If you recall, last month, I confused the signing sheet with the public participation sheet. I was going down the list of signing sheets, and people were like, nah, just say I'm here. But we do have a public participation sheet. Please do feel free to go ahead and put your names on there if you'd like. We're gonna have 2 public participation slots, right? So please take the time to put your name down, and then we can go from there. All right. What do you need?
Right.
Agenda?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Oh, you need one of them? Oh, okay. Yeah.
And what is this for another thing?
I printed for everybody a copy of the community survey results.
Is it this and this, or is it?
That's the whole thing in a tiny one
Oh, okay.
pager, and then that's real note.
Wait, do I need this too?
Do you remember, was one most important, or was nine?
Please hold.
Okay, I'll look it up. I can.
I believe it was one that was most important, but that could be wrong. One is most important. One was most important. Okay, so I'm gonna call the meeting into session. Welcome, everyone. Today is Wednesday, August 13th. I'd like to welcome you to our local school council meeting. My name is Matthew Kwame. Before we get started, I'd like to read through our norms. Throughout the meeting, I'd like to be an active, engaged, contributing participant by sharing perspectives and actively listening to others. To be flexible and respectful of others' time and decisions. To be open to other people's truths and perspectives. Be reminded of differences in culture and social backgrounds. To be transparent about concerns, challenges, and misunderstandings. To be reflective, collaborative, and supportive. Always take the work back to student achievement. What can we do to make things better for our students, both academically and social-emotionally? Respect student, staff, and LSC member confidentiality unless there's a threat to safety. Meetings should be paused if LSC members or meeting participants experience harm due to their identity, included but not limited to gender, sexual orientation, race, etc. The harm should be named. Understand that not everything has a right now solution, and trust that the process is ongoing. With that, I'd like to do a roll call. Matthew Kwame, parent rep.
Yay. Bruce Vivian's teacher rep.
Megan Tobin, teacher rep.
Chris Munns, principal.
Stacey Crosby, student rep.
Sonia Brown, parent rep.
Becky Dodia, parent rep.
Lamont Lynn, community rep.
And Oliver Dinich, parent rep.
Thank you. Nicole Granke is not going to be in today. Eric Olson called me a few minutes ago saying that he was running into traffic, so he'll be in later. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the order of the agenda. I'd like to make a motion to approve the order of the agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Thank you. The motion passes. Next, item needing council approval. So we have a running item here for regular meetings to allow LSC members to join the meeting remotely. Nobody made such a request. I think we're okay with that, so we can skip this one. Next is approval of the minutes from the July 15th special meeting.
I didn't send those
We
out.
didn't get
Yeah.
those right on time, so we're gonna push this to the next
To be continued.
meeting. The next item is welcome letter from the Peirce Parents Organization Coordinating Committee. So this is a letter that we are hoping to send as a group. So I shared that with the members of the council. The idea is over the past few months, the parent groups, which there are many now, we have up to 6, not including some of the subcommittees, have been meeting to try and have some kind of a common message that we send out on a regular basis. And this first one is a welcome letter, essentially, from all the groups. And I shared that with the council. I don't know if there are any questions or any concerns about it. Pretty simple letter, or at least that's my opinion. So I don't know if anybody has any questions or if we want to, in discussion item.
I just want to say, I didn't get that.
Yes, so there's a problem with that, and we need to figure this out because we can't get a hold of you being down the outside. So we'll go ahead and make sure that that gets forwarded and you can take a look at it again, and I can, it's something that is still being worked on because of some links to the different events that are happening at the school and different opportunities for parents who volunteer. So I'd like to make a motion to approve essentially affixing the LSC's name on the letter, the welcome letter from the Peirce Parent Organization's coordinating committee. Because the letter is being sent on behalf of all of us,
Okay,
all the parent groups.
okay.
So that's essentially what it is. And because we're an elected body, we have to vote to approve that our name be included there or therein.
Okay, second.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, very good. All in favor? Thank you. Motion passes. Next item, letter to the Board of Education regarding bulletin board. So this was brought up earlier, to the letter that was circulated among the LSC. So, Rocky, if you want to give us a little bit of background. So essentially what and I don't know, I don't have a copy of it. I should have printed a copy of it, but
I can read it
just gonna, if we can just read.
if my Wi-Fi lets me open it. It's circling. If anybody else's Wi-Fi is working faster than
Yeah, it's
mine,
not.
it's
You guys know how, I mean, we cannot log into the Wi-Fi in the school?
No.
No?
I don't know what your code is.
Oh.
no, we're not allowed to do that.
Because they said there was a guest one as well.
Yeah,
It's okay.
there is, and there's a code that.
Oh, really?
Thank you. Okay, Lamont got it.
I think it would be important though.
Okay, Lamont got it.
You have it?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So this is a letter from the LSC to the Board of Ed asking for clarification on why the policy was written. CPS Principal Amy went through the policy that she needed to approve the bulletin board. CPS then approved the bulletin board. They claimed it didn't violate any policies, and yet we were then asked still to take it down. So the confusion in policy and instruction is the heart of the letter. So I'll go ahead and read it right now. Dear Board of Ed, we are writing to you today concerned about the events surrounding the Arab American Heritage Month display at Peirce Elementary that you heard about at the June Board of Ed meeting. In June, you heard that the Peirce administration and staff were a target of an email attack campaign from those who were offended by the naming of the genocide of Gaza. If you did not hear that there was bullying, harassment, and threats made to our administration and staff. They received over 4,000 emails and messages and calls from the outside of the school community. In June, you heard that the Peirce administration reached out to the district for support and received vague and contradicting information. You did not hear that EOCO and OSP, which I'm sorry, I forgot the full acronym for those if somebody wants to look those up, reported that the display was not in violation of any policies. Yet, our principal was instructed to remove the display or face the possibility of disciplinary action. In June, you heard that complaints were made to OSP. You did not hear that no student was ever identified as needing support, and it was determined that the complaint does not rise to the level of OSP involvement. We are writing today to ask the Board of Education why the Peirce principal was instructed to take down the display if EOCO and OSP determined that it didn't violate any policies. After reading through the timeline of events, we created a hyperlink here linked to a timeline of events that we created concerning the bulletin board. We are concerned that the threats from the outside organizations determined the outcome at Peirce. We are concerned that CPS educators are facing bullying and threatened with disciplinary action when standing with our Palestinian students against genocide. It is worth noting that shortly after being the subject of the attack campaign, both our principal and assistant principal resigned. Since our principal is no longer with CPS, we would like to uplift her request for a clear district-wide guideline for hallway displays so that this same situation doesn't happen again. As an LSC, we would like to call for an investigation into how legal and EOCO responds to external pressure. In this case, it appears that these departments were influenced by outside groups and did not consistently follow established policies. Complaints were anonymous and no Peirce students were identified as being directly impacted. In addition, we are concerned about retaliation against CPS educators who acknowledge the genocide in Gaza. Sincerely, Peirce Local School Council.
Thank you both. Any comments, any items? Because again,
So my question is the timeline that was brought up at the July 8th meeting, after that meeting, it was approved to be sent to legal. And did legal ever get back on that? And then my other question is, where did the information that is in the timeline, where did that information come from?
So I actually have the same, like where and how was the evidence collected? And how we came up with this timeline. And then also, I think what might be helpful, previous administration would be what, because I think that would be confusing, either current or future. And then my other question, even though the, like where and how did we collect this evidence, how do we know that it's accurate?
comments?
Who did write the letter?
This letter that I just read out loud, Nicole wrote it.
So we don't know where the information that the timeline was based on.
Oh, I didn't know if I should answer the question. I wanted to leave room for other people to also ask questions.
Your credibility, yeah.
The timeline was created by Nicole and I through information collecting that we did from the staff member that put up the bulletin board, from community members that were also a part of it.
But there was the LSC meeting where there was some presentations and people
Right.
talking.
Yeah, the timeline also includes public comments that were made at the LSC meeting, which is what Oliver's referring to. The timeline refers to public comments made at the Board of Ed meeting in June. I can't verify if Principal Zamy was a part of creating the timeline. I think we asked her for information, but I don't want to put her name on that. It really was something that Nicole and I collected information about and wanted it all on one page to make sense of what happened and all the different factors and variables that were involved, because it was a lot.
So then, remind me again the purpose of the letter?
The purpose of this letter that I just read out loud is to ask CPS why, if all policies were followed through, if they went through all the channels and protocols that they needed to ensure that the bulletin board wasn't in violation of CPS policy, then why then after that fact were we asked still to take it down, and why then was Principal Zamy threatened with disciplinary action?
So I don't know if I've contacted the law department, maybe you can help too, our deputy I don't know if there is a bulletin board policy via CPS. I believe CPS usually has the policy as a school policy. In other words, we put it in the teacher's handbook. So I don't know of any other board policy other than, each individual school should put it in their teacher's handbook.
So you actually hit the nail on the head. We repeatedly asked, what is the bulletin board policy? And there was no bulletin board policy. There
You
is
said there was no
no
bulletin board policy.
CPS.
We have a bulletin board policy in our handbook.
What does it say?
Oh, right here.
I mean, regardless of whether we look up this bulletin board policy, that maybe there has some generic things about where an objective goes. The two organizations that thoroughly investigated the situation, the two acronyms that I gave you, EOCO and OSP. Let me look up what those.
OSC is Office of Student Protection.
OSP is Office of Student Protections, and EOCO.
Office of Equal, what is it, Opportunity.
Okay, so once both of those CPS policy leadership people came or investigated the entire bulletin board and determined that it did not violate CPS policy, the question in the letter is, why were we still asked to take it down? That's really the thesis of the letter.
But in the timeline, I thought it said that it was taken down on the last day of that year.
Right, but before that, it was asked to be taken down, even after it had been approved and
By who
EOCO and OSP.
directed that to them, the thing.
See, I'm hesitant to agree to this letter because I have not talked to, Office of Equal, EOCO and or OSP. And I'm not sure that the findings, sorry guys, this was before I was here. So I don't know what the findings were from those two departments. So I would, because they are named in the letter, I don't feel comfortable being a CPS employee who works for the board, right? That we're not sure of that accuracy.
Yeah.
And I just don't want us to send a letter to the board and go, this is inaccurate,
So, is it fair to say that you want the timeline verified?
I think the timeline has to be verified, and I think the timeline needs to be verified by the law department, OSP, and I'm gonna mess it up, EOCO, thank you.
So in this situation, is OSP and other bodies that were involved, what are they referring to? Are they referring to a policy that does not exist? Or are they are they referring to the Peirce guide?
See, I'm thinking, that's a good question. I'm thinking we've got a policy for the handbook. So I don't know if it was followed, via the handbook by the employee. And then I don't know what the results were from OSP when they did their investigation, EOCO or OEOCO, and, law department.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So I think we need to
There's historical knowledge that has left the building because the administration has left the building. I'm wondering if we can move this to after public comment, because I see a lot of teachers are in the room, and I'm wondering if they have something to say about this.
The handbook.
Can we just
Sure,
have the
sure,
handbook
sure.
policy read?
Bulletin boards reflect the current instruction taking place in the classroom. Bulletin boards should be updated monthly. They should support current instruction of our core curriculum and IB program, display authentic and high-quality student work. Bulletin board displays should incorporate the following: unit information, central idea, statement of inquiry, key and related concepts, lines of inquiry, inquiry questions, authentic current student work, connections to the learner profile, standards assessed and a scoring rubric. So an assessment is displayed.
Can I ask, is there a specific part of the timeline that seems inaccurate? Or just you can't verify?
I just have no
You just
idea
can't verify, okay.
there, you know?
Okay.
Those seem like
So-
private emails between colleagues, and that is like at the bottom of the emails, it says like, this is confidential information, and there's people's email addresses, there's staff members here where their email addresses are involved in it. So it just,
Wait. There's staff members' emails on the timeline?
Whatever, in emails between someone.
Oh,
people's names were linked in there, people were named in there that are not specifically.
I think the specificity is exactly to verify and to have another person who can verify that that took place. So I think it's purposefully and intentionally not vague and does have a lot of details in it to try to mitigate against someone saying that this is not what happened or this is not what I said. And it does, from what I understand, what you read about the bulletin board policy, that's what I'm sure they took that into consideration when they were just deliberating whether it was a violation of CPS policy or not. And they determined that it wasn't.
So the subject matter in question, was that part of current curriculum? And did the board find that it was, so they just left it alone and then came back later?
I don't know.
Wait, say that again, sorry.
So the teacher or staff person that put this bulletin board together.
Yeah.
And following the Peirce policy, was it part of that Peirce policy? Like, is it part of the curriculum currently and that's why they put it up?
Or did it follow, like
Yeah,
you're saying,
did it
did it
follow?
follow the teacher handbook,
Yes.
the bulletin board policy?
Mhm.
I think it was the librarian, so it wasn't.
It was a
teacher.
librarian. It was a librarian, yeah.
Yeah, it was a librarian, I believe.
It was a librarian.
It was before that.
Okay.
I think also there's probably some feelings of like, why are we still talking about this? Why do we continue to bring this up? And the reason is because this is not going away. If a teacher puts up content and then CPS comes and verifies that that content doesn't violate anything, but then an outside organization comes in and says, you have to take that down, this is just going to happen all over again. So we are asking for clarity. Why did you come to a consensus that that this did not violate CPS policy, and then turn around and say, actually, it must be taken down? What is an educator to take from that?
So
What is an administrator supposed to take from that?
Sorry, Rocky.
Yes,
I'm confused because there is no CPS policy that we know of on bulletin boards, or I can't confirm that right now. What we do know is that the policy is within the school, which is in the teacher's handbook. I was not here. We do have a room full of people that are here. I don't know if you go in to say, did it follow the teacher handbook policy? And that is up to the administrator who was in charge at the time to make sure that the bulletin board was following the bulletin board policy and the teacher handbook. So unfortunately, I can't prove that.
Mhm.
And I think, again, we've got somebody who's resigned and that information went with that person.
Mhm.
So are you like seeking clarity, just a resolution to say who did this or why, or is it somebody that really wants to know?
Yeah,
Is that
we're seeking
teachers
clarity
or
on why
parents?
the double speak. Why did you agree that this doesn't violate policy, but at the same time ask that it be taken down?
Is that
I
just
mean-
you and Nicole or a group?
No, that's the network chief.
And
of
see,
ISP.
who asked for it to be taken down? Because I don't, there's rumors of the possibility of one department saying it must be taken down.
Uh-huh.
And then the happenstance was, it was taken down the last day of the Heritage Month. That was my understanding.
Yes, yeah.
So my question for the LSC is, why would we want to write a letter to the board? I get that you're worried about it,
Mhm.
not, this happening again. But I think if we have an administrator, and the beautiful thing is we're gonna pick an administrator, that makes sure that teachers and staff members are following what is written in this, in the handbook. I mean, I think that would be even more effective than rather getting the Board of Education involved in this.
I think the
Here's-
same thing
you-
would just happen again.
Say one thing, like, to me, it sounds like Board of Education made a ruling saying,
Yeah.
this is, everything is fine with this bulletin, or approve the bulletin.
Yeah.
Which almost, it seems like they didn't have the basis of making this because there was actually no such a policy. So almost they made a ruling without actually having a policy, right? Does that make sense? Because then we just say CPS doesn't have a policy on this. It's only in the handbook.
Lost me.
So sorry, I want to make sure we time box this
Yeah.
and just understand what our next steps are. It sounds like there's a lot of discussion that needs to continue to be had. Because if we want to, or we can decide to bring this to a vote and then figure out how to move forward. I think there are a lot of questions, that may have some answers here or may not, but I don't know that. I think everybody's gonna make their opinion and we can sort of decide what we want to do about this. Essentially, we want to try and see if we want to vote to approve this letter to be sent out. And it sounds like there's quite a bit of discussion that needs to be had even at this table before we can move to the next step. So I don't know if we want to make a motion to vote and then go from there,
Yeah.
or.
Do you want to make a motion?
Go
I'm
ahead.
gonna record it. You go ahead and make a motion. Do you want me to? Oh,
Go
I was
ahead.
gonna record it while you said it, sorry. Okay, I'll make the
So
motion.
before we do that, I mean, do we have people that, I mean, are there other discussion items? Is the letter clear enough based on what's been talked about? I just want to make sure that if we vote, that we know what we're voting for or voting on. So
For me, no.
what? It's coming.
I believe if it looks like it might not have a chance. So if it needs more time, I think it should be motion for discussion versus motion for voting to send.
Anybody else?
I'm not comfortable voting for the letter until I know where the information for the letter came from specifically. I did ask about that when we sent the letter when we sent the timeline to legal, and I was told that all the information was FOIA. That was what, I can't remember who said that the information was FOIA. So I was looking to see what the source of all the information was before we vote on the letter. I don't feel comfortable signing on to something where I don't know where the information came from.
Can we vote to move it for the next meeting since Nicole is not here and she's the one that put it together? So maybe she can give us a little bit more
That's
information.
up to everyone.
Did she, by chance, get to give context on the timeline or the letter at the last meeting?
No.
And
When I asked where the information
Okay.
came from, she said it was FOIA.
Okay, then I'm fine.
was putting the vote.
Mhm.
Good. And these are conversations that we can continue to have such that, I mean, again, just like everything else, if we're going to put something out, it needs to be reflective of the consensus. Okay, Jared? All right. Next item is public participation. Like I said, yes, you put your name on there if you'd like to come up front.
And, that's the participation list, that might have to sign it.
No, that's right. That's correct. And while that's happening, usually what we do is we take a look at the Peirce LSC email address to see if there are additional comments. Usually, yeah. So there's a couple of them. So
Can I ask a question for you?
yeah, it's pretty long too. So yeah.
That's what I was gonna ask. So before we had a timer and Nicole kept time and we had a couple of staff members that were cut off at 2 minutes. And then you read a letter from REP that was really long, and I don't have a problem with that, but it does seem like if you want to like really get a lot out and then you write a really long letter, so for whatever reason, it doesn't seem fair to me. And when we have very knowledgeable staff members that are bleeped out and told they have to stop talking, but the letter just went on and on. It doesn't seem fair, so I don't know if there's a way to, and that's something we can discuss at another time, but it makes me feel sad when people get bleeped off and they're told they can't.
Okay. So there are 2 items here that have come through.
Who would you like to keep time?
I can do both.
I'll do it.
Read or.
I got it.
Or keep time. Or I can, there's also, do we want to start with the public participation? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Thank you. Anna?
Hi, my name is Hannah Bloom. I'm a parent here at Peirce, and I was the name that was called out in the timeline. I at no point was reached out to, so all of the information that's in that timeline comes from one perspective. Here, I was quoted there, materials that I had emailed Miss Samey in faith were put in that timeline. But nobody reached out to me, to anyone else who signed the letter in partnership with me, to understand what our experience was like, both as part of what was going on in the school and what was going on with the central office process. I also think it's really important, something that's missing from this letter is that one thing that happened during this process of the central office making a decision is a number of, not injury, but whatever the other word is, when you submit, something that's happening that is of danger or of harm to your child. People submitted those anonymously because they didn't want their kids to be bullied. They didn't want the staff to get their kid's name, even though their kids are going through something really that's having a real impact on them. And so the central office got a better understanding of the experience of the kids at school, even though they didn't have their name, and so they couldn't dig into it, and so they couldn't name a trauma. But that information came in between the first decision and the second decision. I want to end by saying that I really wish this was a conversation we were having as a Peirce community. I really wish that we could work together to understand what different people were coming to this issue, how we were all feeling about it, because it's incredibly traumatic to lots of different people. I wish this wasn't a politically public issue that was going to the Board of Education. And so I'm going to stand up here and I'm going to volunteer that if our school wants to take better steps to address how do we bring complicated topics in for our students and for our families, I'll raise my hand. You want a committee, you want a subcommittee, you want to spend however many hours, I volunteer to lead that with anyone else who wants to do it and who finds it important. What I don't want is for this to be a public political stance that people outside of our valuable community International Baccalaureate, this is what we do. We dive into this. Our principal description names facing history. That is literally what facing history is done to do. We've got the skills. Our teachers, our certified amazing teachers, have the skills to do this. I would love nothing more than to see their leadership in figuring this out, rather than passing this into the public to use some kind of strange public commentary from the Board of Education to comment on how to bring excellence to our school. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Gary?
Hi, I'm Jerry. I'm your father here. I'm gonna read some comments from a fellow father of mine who just wanted to kind of talk about what's happening here. And I appreciated some of the comments that were made here in the committee related to this agenda item. And I echo what was just said. The intent of this letter is a clarification of the hallway display guidelines. We encourage focusing on that goal, for sure. As written, the letter reads more like a political statement, though, framed as a neutral concern. I think that was very clear, frankly, to a lot of you here. To provide clarity to the school community, it should be better that we would actually ask for clarity in terms of like our policies. If that's needed, then that's what you should ask, and that's it, rather than have inflammatory language throughout that letter. Letter notes that no student was identified in complaints. I want to point out that the complaint system is intentionally anonymous to protect students from retribution. Not naming a student does not invalidate their claim or concerns they raise. Having a parent named, even in this timeline, is incredibly concerning. Think about the children. You all are here with children, right? Think about what effect that might have in the community for a political agenda. So we would encourage you to look at this much more carefully, certainly not pass it as it is. Rather, sending a letter that could divide us, I'd like us to think about initiatives or conversations that help our school community come together, restore trust, and ensure that all voices are heard. That is how we can move forward in a positive and productive way, any day of the week. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jerry. The next item, Anna, it's a letter from you. Would you like me to read that as well, or are you? I went ahead and forwarded them to the LSC for inclusion. It's
I'm
up to you.
comfortable with whatever you think is the best decision on that.
I can go ahead and read it. I'm a little puzzled by this action on the part of the LSC. My understanding of the role of the LSC is threefold: oversee the budget, perform principal evaluation, and run the CIWP process. While the question of communications guidelines is important, it is not the role of the LSC. It's the role of the administration. While we are discussing the administration, I find it incredibly underhanded to imply that Ms. Zamy and Ms. Munoz's leaving had anything to do with the situation. Mrs. Zamy's performance had been in question for a long time, and her relationship with families and staff had been going downhill. Her path toward the position she is now in had begun long before April. While her exit from Peirce was not one of fond farewell, her leaving was not determined by these events. And Mrs. Munoz left for entirely personal reasons. Peirce is a school of excellence because of the skills and commitment of our amazing teachers. Not only are our teachers some of the best educated and certified professionals in the system, they are also guided by the IB principles. It is this expertise that should be making decisions about how to bring complicated, emotional topics into student conversation. I was heartened when the principal job description cited facing history. Those skills and values should be guiding this conversation. What a shame that some of our school community has lost sight of those values. If we must dive into details, it is false that all of the OSP incident reports were done so anonymously. I have spoken with parents who filed reports to receive support for their child, and they heard nothing back to support them. However, I'm horrified by the assault on the importance of being able to submit incident reports anonymously. In this case, the complaints made to OSP were anonymous because families felt that naming their young children would put those children at risk. I have spoken directly to these families and I've heard the stories of harassment from them. We often hear of the importance of privacy in OSP complaints. Anonymous reports and complaints are of the utmost importance for every large organization. Anonymity, and somebody help me. Thank you. Allow students to express themselves without fear of reprisal from the same staff who have fostered a hostile environment for students from school grounds. The idea that any district would force all students to identify themselves before making a true and honest report of intimidation is extreme and dangerous. Every student needs to feel safe to express feelings of fear or upset, especially when caused by school staff. The signers of this letter really want to discredit reports of harm made anonymously. Making reports anonymously does lessen the opportunity to fully investigate the harm, but that should not discredit the voices that we hear through this path. I'm incredibly disappointed that this letter focuses on outside influences. I would have hoped that our conversation would be within the Peirce community, a community that has such power for understanding and complicated conversation. That we could find an opportunity to hear each other's stories and seek ways to grow together. When we include complicated topics in our children's education and school environment, we don't put them on bulletin boards. We include them in the classroom community, structuring them to be covered with the expert support of our certified, well-trained teachers. How disappointing for making this a stage for public political action instead of specific practice that would benefit the Peirce children and families. You are supposed to speak for the broader Peirce community, and this letter most certainly does not speak to the majority of the hundreds of families at Peirce.
Time. So I would not want to replicate the feedback from Bridget. So how would you like to proceed forward?
So we can vote to allow for me to continue reading what's in the inbox, or we can move forward. Because we have another public participation section after this. So
I
how do
think
people feel about this?
because it's written, everyone on the council has the opportunity to review it. And people have had an opportunity to speak as well. I'm comfortable continuing with our agenda.
Does everyone feel? Okay. And again, we have one more public participation at the bottom. So we can keep it forward. Next item on the agenda. Okay, CC, you're up.
Hi, everyone. I'm Cece. I'm the student rep this year. So this is my report. So I'm working to bring more student voice into the principal search. So this following week, when school starts, I'll be reaching out to student groups such as GSA and Black Student Union to let them know the status of the principal search and be available to them.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Next item, principal's report, and then we can kind of go down the budget, whatever you want to do. It's up to you.
Let me do just a principal report and then we'll go right into budget.
Very good.
So I would like to just share some few updates that we have received from CPS regarding Peirce School. In regards to, I want to keep everybody abreast. We have lost a position in the nutrition, so in other words, the lunchroom, and it was a vacancy. So what we have been told at CPS is trying to save some money by cutting vacant positions. So unfortunately, we lost our cook position. We have, what that basically means for parents and students, those that have lunch, that participate in having lunch here, that are given to them from school, is that they're calling it an express menu. So instead of having 3 options for lunch, we will now only have 2 options. That is something that I've worked with in my prior school. It's usually 1 hot item and 1 cold item, or could be a vegetarian, like a vegetarian option. So 1 hot item per 5 components. Components being a veggie, a fruit, milk, and then what the lunch is. So that, I just wanted to break the news in person. I'm sorry, I apologize, but this is affecting quite a few CPS schools system-wide. Moving on to breakfast, we are, and this is somewhat new to the staff as well, so we have tried to think about how we can best serve breakfast and also combine time change. So remember, we've gone from school starting at 8, will now be starting at 8:30. We have confirmed, not breakfast related, sorry, but we have confirmed YMCA will be able to have before school care and after school care. YMCA will provide care before school, both at the branch and the main building, starting at 7:00 a.m. and then till 8:30. We have tried, because of our staff has also, I'm kind of blending this in, so I apologize, lost a possible position in the custodial staff to make it user-friendly, in other words, doable for the employees that we have. I would like to propose that we have breakfast in the lunchroom, starting at 8:00 to 8:15. For those students that are on early, we will allow them to go outside, obviously inclement weather, they stay inside. And then we are trying to see if we would have to have the students removed out of the cafeteria, because we gotta get it ready for gym. That starts at 8:30. So you can see logistically, we're trying to be creative. So please be flexible. In the first week or 2, it may adjust, and we will keep you posted on that. Breakfast, for any students coming in after 8:30, we will allow them to have, like breakfast. We're gonna have it in a central location, not in the classrooms, just because logistically, we have 1 day janitor here and 1 at the branch, and they cannot be able to clean up all of the breakfast in time in order to keep us going on schedule for lunch. So again, breakfast will be available in the cafeteria at 8:00 to 8:15. Students will be dismissed out to the field, assuming good weather, and any student that comes in after 8:30 will have the opportunity for a lunch as well. Breakfast as well. Again, it's a hot or cold item for breakfast. So 2 options for lunch, 1 option for breakfast.
Sure. So if you come in at 8:15 and you get your breakfast, you eat in the cafeteria.
You're gonna eat in a central location, which we're thinking just right outside the cafeteria, so that everybody has an opportunity for it. So that is 1, I just wanna let you know, so an express menu, I did kind of push back to make sure that the menu does reflect what the menu item is, so there's nothing worse than, Mom, I thought I was gonna get a hot dog, and all of a sudden, they were serving cold sandwiches. So they promise that they will do the best that they can to make sure that they stay consistent. I don't know what it's been like here historically, but that was the request that I made from them. And then budget, one more thing before we get into that. Back to school bash, it is tomorrow, so I wanna make sure everybody is aware. They come in at 3:30, meet classroom teachers, in the classroom as well, and then at 4:30, correct me if I'm wrong, staff, we go outside for the bash till 5, yes.
Yeah,
Staff.
so 3:30 to 4:30 in classrooms, or meet the teacher and drop off supplies.
So thank you, I appreciate that. And that is the latest and the greatest.
Thank you.
I have a question around one thing. The previous student representative, Adrian Kabashi, was that his last name? He, at the beginning of the last school year, he made a comment that one of the school lunches line was not working. And basically we went the entire year without enabling it. Has that been fixed or?
Oh, I remember it. Something broke in the
There was a part
lunchroom.
and the wrong part was sent,
The
something along those
third, yeah,
lines.
the third party company that comes to fix it came fix it. It broke again, like immediately, and then the whole lane, I think, for
Right,
lunch
so
was
they were
closed. That's what he was.
Functioning
Okay.
on one lane
Yes.
pretty much.
So I will follow up on that to make sure that whatever was fixed, or if it has been fixed or not been fixed, I will follow up with that with nutrition services. But there's also, it's the same thing that happened at my previous school, not only something broken, but it's being able to staff. So now with even more cuts to the staff, we think efficiently it would go through one lunch line. Okay. But thank you for letting me know about that.
Chris, you mentioned that YMCA adjusted the hours from 7 to 8:30. Do we know if Paula's gonna do the same thing? They have their provider? They don't have a before school?
Yeah,
They only have
always
the
after
after
school.
Got it.
Yeah, but everyone had to adjust for after school hours as well.
Yeah,
But I'm enrolled in YMCA in the morning and Apollo in the afternoon. And I've got the messages from both of them that they understand the school schedule.
Anything else?
Matthew, I just realized that we had a public comment come in. Should I just wait till the second round?
Yeah.
you want to go into budget?
Yeah, it's good.
All right, so on the agenda, and I do like to be transparent to make sure that everybody knows where our money is going. So on the agenda, I asked Matthew to please include exactly where money is being taken out of. So currently, the 4 items below are all being taken out of the student fees account, which is currently in the amount of $47,013.25. So we have 4 items. This RL Canning technician labor, that is for the technology equipment. Again, this has been a budget change for CPS. I believe you guys had 8 hours here, I would assume. For a technician to come in that CPS was paying for. Now that has been cut to 4 hours every other week. So we are asking, because we have so much technology, that we pay, as you can see, the total cost of $12,771, and this will be allowed for a technician to work on all technology, whether it's broken, helping out, fixing things for teachers for that amount. The second item is from the company named Renaissance, and that is a STAR K2. It's an assessment that we use here at Peirce in the amount of $2,535.75, as well as the third item, Brain Pop. That is also served in English and as well as, I believe, Spanish. A school subscription bundle, the amount for the year is $4,284. And Mind Education ST Academy On Demand Personalized Learning in the amount of $5,600. Again, this would be covered by the student fees. That is an internal account in the amount of $47,013.25. If it is approved, what happens is the monies go out of internal accounts. It's called a book transfer. It sounds goofy. It's just, another acronym that CPS loves to use. But it's basically a book transfer from the internal accounts and puts it into the budget line. so that we can pay these vendor-approved companies for these online services and services.
So you make a motion. I can make a
Before,
motion.
can I say something? Was it this a typo on the first item, which is the IT? You said 4 hours every 2 weeks, which should be 4 hours 26. I'm seeing here 6 hours with
Times
43 weeks. I'm trying to understand.
43 weeks throughout the school year.
Okay.
So the school year usually runs 36 weeks.
Okay.
And then he also works over the summer. So he was here this past summer under the previous, last year's contract.
Okay. So now this is changed to 4 hours. You said,
No, I apologize, that was something different. So
okay.
CPS
Okay.
used to pay for somebody to come in 8 hours
Right.
once a day. They cut that to 4 hours every other day.
Okay.
To subsidize that, I don't know if that's the right word. We are asking that RL Canning continue what we currently have
Okay.
because we have so much technology.
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
Making up the difference.
Okay, this is the difference.
Now it's only 6
That's,
hours.
yeah, I was,
Well,
It's about 8 hours.
No, this is,
It's
so
different.
it's, so one day he'll be here for 4 hours, right? And CPS pays for that. And then one day he'll be here for 6 hours and we have to pay for that.
okay, this is the difference. Okay.
Yes, the difference.
So this is perspective costs. It's not something that we owe for
No,
services rendered.
perspective, yes.
It's about $25,000 total.
Yes,
Okay with that, right?
yeah.
So we can make a motion to approve the line item changes that are under item A here. That's all of them in single motion. We gotta do each one? All right. All right, we'll start with, the motion to, the first item I here to make a line item transfer to fund RL Canning.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Motion passes.
Second motion, the line item 2, the transfer for Renaissance for the Star K2.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Thank you. Motion passes.
Item number 3, the motion for the line item transfer to support Brain Pop ELL school subscription.
All in favor? Thank you. Motion passes.
Motion 4, line item transfer for My Education ST Math.
Second.
I see that's my daughter's favorite.
My son likes it too.
All in favor? Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris.
We got nothing on federal and state transfers. Nothing on others.
Very good. Move on to the next item. So we have community reports. I would like to ask for forgiveness because I did not send out a request for comments to the different groups. But I see that we have a couple of representatives from some of our community groups here. So if anybody has any updates, I did mention earlier that during the summer months, or the past few weeks, we've been meeting to talk about coordinating and better access and better outreach to our parents, so that there's going to be more communications coming from the groups, called coordinated committee. So that's really my update there, but I know that, again, we have some representatives from different groups of folks have items that they want to bring up. I don't want to, I see, you're sitting on your hands.
Yeah, so PSO is coordinating with staff for the Back to School Fest, which is tomorrow. So we're working on cutting lots of pumpkins, geez. Thinking about Fall Fest. lots of watermelons, and making lots of lemonade for tomorrow. So there's gonna be stuff for kids to enjoy, while they're out on the trip. And then a date was set for the parent night out for September 18th, which is a Thursday. And we're partnering with other parent groups, and childcare is in the works, it sounds like. So that will be coming very soon.
And can I just add, Mr. Lee and I did meet with the PPOCC. So I was happy, right, did I get it right? The acronym right, PPOCC?
Peirce Parents Organization Committee, Coordinating Committee.
Which I think is great, because I really want to set the next person, the next principal up for success. So my first reaction was, holy cow, there are a lot of parent groups here. So I appreciate, meeting with the, I believe, chairs or vice chairs. We will meet with them quarterly and maybe as needed.
Thank you. Next up, wait a minute, let's slow down. RIP, anyone? Good? Very good. Next is committee reports. PPLC? No?
Getting the school year started.
We got
Yeah.
we got you. I put here, so back, again, that's part of, back is a committee, but they have been part of the
And
the
they were
community.
in attendance at the PPOCC.
Looking around to see if we have any backgrounds. So equity committee, again, same thing.
I have.
Yeah, go ahead.
Our calendar is almost done. We got some feedback from our survey that we sent out a few weeks ago, I think. And so we have a tentative calendar for our forums that I think were pretty popular last year, starting with diverse learner success. That's going to be on October 15th, followed by culture and community, or possibly Northwestern equity research. That vote was pretty split, and the last one will be Palestinian Chicago. That was the feedback that we got from votes in our forum. So that's the tentative schedule for now. I'm basically done with that graphic. That will go up in some more once we hear back from the admin on the last ask from Nicole.
Thank you. Principal evaluation, there are no updates.
Yeah.
What happened? That was a joke, but okay, we're good. All right, so moving on to new business, school access updates. The reason why I put that in there is, in case it hasn't been noticed, there's quite a bit of construction around where we are. And just wanted to kind of like bring that up, and my understanding is that we were also maybe losing or have lost a crossing guard somewhere in the perimeter.
Thank you for that, yes.
So I'd like to, not gonna resolve it, they're doing construction, but like, is there anything like that we can do? I don't know, people are making left turns over here, even though it says no left turns. It's,
What's our police district here? 20? Was it 20? Okay. Let me reach out to them. It's a miracle what happens when we have a police car at that left turn. Okay, that's
no left
one.
turn.
So we are not losing, there are 4.
Okay.
We lost 1, so we're down to 3. We're not losing a crossing guard as closest to us. I might mess this up, I apologize, that was one of the things that I don't know where my post-it note is. But I believe it's the, I'm pointing this way, I'm pointing east.
Yep.
It's at, I think, was there one at Broadway?
Broadway's great, that was fun.
So Broadway and Bryn Mawr, I think they cut that one.
Okay.
Okay. It's a bad one, but there is a light.
Yeah.
We gotta make sure that we encourage everybody light and then making sure we're seeing eye contact. We went through this with at my previous school as well.
I got tickets there.
So but the three closest to the building, are staying. And as well as I did bring up, because Passages is right down the street as well. So wanted to make sure, that we didn't lose that one there. So unfortunately, part of the, thank you, Matthew, for just saying this. Unfortunately, we did lose a, crossing guard. We went from 4 to 3.
So the board office said in previous years, we've had permission to partially block traffic for 15 minutes. And with a massive amount of more cars coming through, anyone reached out and said, hey, don't put up the sawhorse? Because I think it's important to do it.
So the sawhorse goes on the alley, right, Eric?
On Bryn Mawr, we would stop one direction of Bryn Mawr for 15 minutes.
Okay, that we need to get permission from the Alderman's office.
We had in all previous years.
Okay, so
So I don't know, because of the construction, they had reached out and said, don't do that. But my opinion is, that's what we have been doing unless we were supposed to request it every year. But that was just a normal process. If you're coming eastbound, no one is cutting through Bryn Mawr for 15 minutes.
Westbound.
West,
Westbound,
off the
you
Lake
close
Shore
it
Drive.
westbound. Okay.
Everyone coming off the Lake Shore Drive for 15 minutes can't cut in front of the school. But with Ridge closed, there's gonna be some angry drivers, which it's not our fault. I mean, it's the city chopped up things and directed all the traffic down the street at the same time that they closed through traffic on all of the other streets.
Okay.
So it's
Let me
gonna be
reach out
rough.
to the Alderman, explain the situation. Trust me, it's adding like 5 minutes for me to just get here to work, trying to figure out.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm hoping, and the other thing is maybe we can get an update on construction and when they're completing it. So that will lessen some of the.
Latest from
Yeah.
August is the end of
Nice.
August.
That's not bad.
In August, the expected
End of
date is
August.
end of August.
Well, the latest from the Alderman's newsletter on Friday was that everything's going as expected and should be done at the end of August. That's just from the.
That's what I have.
Okay,
That should
Only
be
be a
set.
few weeks of it.
right.
I copy those assigned to Peirce.
Yeah, and then let me get confirmation from the Alderman.
I'll send it to you.
Okay, great, thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Yeah, so we have parents here. Please brace yourselves for Monday. It's gonna be interesting. I mean, we do have parking in the Jewel parking lot, but that one gets filled up rather quickly. Hopefully with an 8:30 start, then maybe some reprieve there, but we're gonna hug it out.
I would say early and then get those first day of school pictures and organized and we're ready to go.
There you go. Thank you. Next item, LSC Community Representative vacancy. We have posted the
We're not in
vacancy.
the Alderman's letter, but I
It was
was
the Alderman's letter, it was the consent letter, and it was not.
Perfect. Can we ask, have we heard, have we gotten any responses so far? Okay. So, public service announcement, call your friends. So the requirement is that, our previous community rep, who's no longer a community rep, is no longer so because their child has now enrolled into Peirce, and therefore that position is now open. So please, advertise on our behalf. The requirement again is that their children not be currently enrolled at the school, but they need to live within the boundaries of the school. Everybody wants to stand and turn around and shake because we're about to get into like a fun part. Not that it's not been fun already. All right, So, principal selection discussion item. So I want to give a recap first before we get into things. So our journey began at the end of May with the resignation of Lori. At that point in time, we basically needed to get the formal, what's the word, acknowledgement from CPS that the position was indeed up. We have since had a series of special meetings to, first of all, get trained up on the process. Number two, and then after that, figuring out the process. The first milestone was to develop a job posting and have it released on the CPS website. It's under the Department of Principal Quality. And so we worked through that. So we met to talk about sort of what we thought the attributes of such candidates should be. We worked with the community through surveys, through kind of gathering feedback and input from everyone. And we were able to get that posting up to the Department of Principal Quality that then went through their own review and approval. We were very lucky to get the network chief's approval right away when we sent it out. So thank you very much for your diligence. At that point in time, the position was posted according to the CPS calendar. So it's every Wednesday that any available position gets posted. It was then open for 2 weeks, and exactly 2 business days later, the Department of Principal Quality forwarded the resumes to the chair. So we have 19 applications that we have received. So I thought that was pretty good. I don't know, I don't have any sort of benchmark, but it seemed
My
like it was
previous
pretty
school,
good.
they had 12, so there you go.
So that was the first milestone, the first milestone, getting the job posting out. The second milestone, closing the application period and receiving the resumes. Now, the next steps are going to entail reviewing the resumes to whittle that list down to a number that's, I believe that we're going to discuss that here. And we have already, but we're just going to firm things up. Once those who have made it through the next round are selected, we will then have the interviews. Once the interviews are conducted, we're also going to have a candidate forum, is what we're calling it, where the entire community will be invited and present. And we're going to coordinate with, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. And then the last milestone is entails sort of what we call reference reviews that include campus visits, so at these candidates' places of employment. So those are sort of like the different milestones. So at the prior meeting, we worked for a timeline. And my apologies, I don't have it in front of me, but we're very, when we put that up, it's fairly aggressive, right? So what we're trying to do is kind of wrap things up by the end of next month. So there are several steps that we have to take. The first one being the resume review. So one of the things that we have to do before that is kind of like discuss or approve what we call the principal selection committee, right? So who are they and what do they do, right? So we worked as a group to come up with a structure, right? A chair, a secretary, and somebody that will be in charge of coordinating between the different stakeholders, whether that be parent groups or the administration or the parents at large, or the community at large. That includes also staff and whatnot. So I don't know if we want to, so those are the sort of like the different roles. So different roles. So we have a chair, we have a secretary, and then we have a coordinating head, we'll call it. So those are the role, and then we have everybody else that will be involved. So let me talk about that for a second. The parents were sent a survey, and so were the teachers, right? To try to figure out what kind of attributes are we looking for in our next leader or school administrator. And we also asked if people were willing to participate in the process. We had 211 responses to the survey, the parent survey. 70 of those expressed interest. So we're blessed. It's amazing. And we're really thankful for that. And it's going to be very helpful for the next steps. So the idea is that everyone that expressed interest will receive an email saying, these are the different steps that we're going to have, and these are the dates. Please sign up. And we're going to figure out how to make sure that the groups, first of all, it's going to depend on how many people respond, right? We did get a lot of people that said we're interested, but for a variety of reasons, the dates may not work out or something may happen. But we're going to ensure that for as far as I'll call it the logistics are concerned, that people get ample opportunity to participate. I'm thinking specifically about the interviews and the forums and how we set that up, what kind of questions are being asked, how we receive feedback and incorporate that in the decision that we're going to make as an LSC. That brings me back to the first step, which is the resume review, and how we want to make that happen, because that's really what's going to kind of be the catalyst to the next steps that are coming. The proposal or the idea, and we've been discussing that to make sure that we have a process that makes sense and that's clear. The idea is to, because the LSC is ultimately the body that's going to vote. But this is Peirce, and we want to make sure that we get people what they're asking for, which is participation. When I say people, I mean the entire community, not just the parents. And so the idea is to, at this first step, this first important step, to include LSC members, as well as representatives from our parent groups. And as Chris mentioned, we have a few. And then also key stakeholders in the building is what I'm going to call it, those four walls. And so we've been kind of working together. We want to work together to kind of make sure we understand what that means. The parent groups, that's easy, right? Like getting a representative and an alternate from each parent group to make sure that we achieve representation across the board. And understanding that, we're trying to make sure that this process is as clear and as open as possible. We do understand that there are 70 people that have agreed or thrown their names in the hat to volunteer. I hope that people will agree that having 70 people in the room plus others might be a little bit complicated when it comes to resume review. But again, so we thought that it was we thought of an alternative where that's what we will do, where we will have the LSC as plus the parent representatives and additional key stakeholders from the school. So let me pause there for a second. Let's see if there are no questions.
Can I also just clarify what we're proposing? We are proposing a vote today to include, first we have to vote to agree to include non-LSC members into the principal selection committee. We already know that we had 70 plus responses from the community that said they're interested in becoming a part of the process. So our proposal is that we vote to include non-LSC members today, and then for this first part, which is the resume review, which requires a confidentiality agreement, we invite 1 or 2 members from each parent group to join that resume review process, regardless of whether they said they were interested or not. And and then include the staff members. I think, Bridget, you said 6 staff members were interested. They bring them into the resume review process, along with obviously the LSC. So there's 3 different sort of stakeholders at the resume review process. After that, the next steps, which are the interview, the forum, and the site visits, we start to bring in the community members, the 70 plus community members that said that they're interested in joining the work. So it's sort of like phase 1 is resume review with parent groups, staff, and LSC. And then phase 2 is bring in the community members that said they were interested in joining us in the work. We won't invite all 70 community members to join the interview. We'll just ask who's free at this time to come and do the interview process with us. I'm assuming all 70 can't. Whoever can join that process. Then we'll reach out again to see who's interested in joining us for the forum, and then we can bring them in for the forum. So it's sort of like we'll have cohorts of parents join us for each component of the principal selection process. Does that make sense?
You know, it does, but I'm a little worried without Jose being here. Jose is our LSC specialist. I'm worried about confidentiality. Like if we're bringing in 70, not all 70, right? But people from that group of 70 to either do site visits, resume, eyes on resumes, and, okay,
We
good.
won't. Resume. The site visits, yes.
Okay, and
Like
then
the forum, that's.
And the candidate
the
forum.
forum is
That's
like a
right.
perfect opportunity. My worry is when they go to do like a site visit, you know, with, again, that confidentiality and how many people are going into the building. Like it's gotta be a small group, like maybe 3.
That's fine.
Yeah.
We can ask for
Okay.
clarification
Just-
or something. Again, for me, it's representation. It's as many people as we can get to participate and assist. If it's not legal, or if it's like
Yeah,
whatever
I
it is,
just-
we're not gonna do it, but
Yeah.
whatever.
I would be worried if I was a principal and then all of a sudden 5 people were coming in.
Yeah.
So then I would say to my AP, hey, what's going on? You know,
So
that's what I'm
we're
more
saying
about.
that as a fail-safe, those people would be LSC members. That would be doing the site visit.
Similar than that, just our motion to involve our greater community just needs to have a clause that says within the guidelines of CPS. And those guidelines of CPS are gonna say, these are the things you can volunteer for, these are the things that you can't. That way we can move this process forward without getting hung on that part.
Yeah.
And the only thing I would advise the group, just because of going through this process at my previous school, is I think it's very key to have consistent people on this so that they know from beginning to end, as opposed to
Right.
we're gathering people along the way. Just heeding and warning.
I think that part does work with the opening part, where as a committee, you need to fit a chair, a secretary, or call it a coordinator. And those 3 folks have to maintain continuity. So if you're any one of those, as we've discussed ideas of who it is, that person has to be able to be a face from beginning to end, right? Because you don't want a candidate getting lost, and who am I supposed to talk to this week?
And I think another great way to bring in, and I don't know where we are on the rubric, I know Jose provided a rubric for the resumes.
Well, there's a framework. We come up with a rubric.
But that's another great way to bring
Yes.
in masses that
That's
can
right.
look at a rubric.
Well, that's how we're going to do it. Yeah. So, so right now we're trying to figure out like who, like the how, all that, we certainly.
I do think that's important to clarify that we've mentioned the who of who we want to join us in the resume review, but how it works is we are all looking at the resumes in relation to a rubric, and every single resume gets a score. So that's how the process works, in case anybody in the community is wondering.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically what the handbook says, right? You have your topics, right, of interest. And then there are 2 additional ones that are always there. Forgive me, I forget what they are, but they're all there, they're always there.
Yes, yeah.
And then there's a ranking, 1 through 4. So this is sort of like a scoring sheet that we're going to have for that purpose. We probably are going to use that even for feedback from interviews, feedback from forums, feedback from visits, whatever we need to kind of put together, but it's going to be that consistent document that we're going to sort of use on a regular basis, or we're going to use throughout that process. I agree with what Eric said, which is we really want to emphasize the commitment, right? So the difference between involvement and commitment is breakfast, right? Like, so the chicken was involved, but the pig was committed. So like, let's just make sure and make sure that everybody can understand. It is going to take some time, but like, hopefully we can sort of come out of it. So we're going to come out of that stronger. So
I'm gonna use that.
sorry. So again, so a point about student participation, right? So CC does not get a vote, but CC gets to participate in every step of this process. So I just wanted to kind of let you know. So you're not.
I just asked a question.
Mhm.
We're reviewing the resumes in a meeting.
So let's talk about that. So we'll talk about that. So you won't be involved in that one, but we will get into a meeting and then go through that review, resume review. That's correct.
Can I see the results that you scored afterwards? That's a good
Yeah,
question.
those will be, everybody will see them.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Honestly, Cece, keep asking us. Every time you ask what can I can't do, I just have to go back to the guide because I can't keep track actually of like all the different nuances of what you can do and what you can't do. So keep asking us and we'll keep looking it up in the guide because
The
I
other
can't
thing
keep
also,
it straight.
that's true. The other thing also is like all the email communications. If for whatever reason you see a lull, I haven't heard, Chris has been sending that to you, but like if you don't hear back, just let us know. So in terms of the composition, so the item that we want to bring to a vote is the principal selection committee and the roles that we have outlined: chair, secretary, and coordinator.
Correct.
And then the next one is figuring out again. So being ironclad on the number of people that are going to be in the committee for the subgroup for the resume review. The next one, and then the next item is to vote on the date to have all of those people in a room going through the resume review.
I think that was gonna take a little more discussion, so I think we can we also have to do the explicit motion to say that we're gonna involve the greater community. So that's a very simple motion that we can make it.
I'm gonna write it as a motion to include non-LSC members into the principal selection committee. Is there anything else you want me to add to that?
Within CPS guidelines, right, 'cause that's the other part we talked about. So,
Meaning signing the confidentiality.
Yeah.
And everything else that entails. Okay.
all right, so that's your motion, then I'm seconding it,
Sounds good.
seconding.
Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you.
And we need to establish the committee, right?
That's right. So the next one is that.
Yeah.
So again, chair, secretary, coordinator. Anybody want to make a motion?
Do we want to do names with them too? Because we get an idea of who's going to sit in each role.
Yeah.
That's.
I wanted to make sure everyone's okay with myself being the chair, Matthew being the secretary, and Ms. Fabiasco, you being the principal selection.
So that's
I'd like to make it
And we talked about
What
that
is
yesterday.
So it's Eric.
Yeah, that's what we talked yesterday, that you got a classroom to run, so I'll volunteer to do that part.
But also, shouldn't we open, like, who would like to be the chair? And I also confirmed with Jose, the chair of the principal selection committee does not need to be an LSC member. It can be a voted-in member of the principal selection committee.
That's fine.
So in that part, I think, great, let's just start with committee structure without a name, and then I think we're gonna have to vote on the names. So step one is we'll establish a principal selection committee that has a chair, a secretary and a coordinator. That's the motion.
That's the motion.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Thank you.
So then after that, so chair right now, Matthew's volunteered to be chair.
No.
No,
I have not.
Rocky's volunteered to be chair, you volunteered to be secretary.
No. Again, no.
Coordinator,
That's right.
coordinator, secretary, chair. All right, so
But
then
like, do you wanna be, you at one
I'm-
point expressed interest in being the chair.
I'm
So I
willing to
just wanted to
help.
make sure it didn't feel like, again, decisions were made and put down on a piece of paper, like, okay, this is
Yeah.
the way it's gonna go. And being that we are involved in the democratic process, I'm.
Right.
So you're not doing it?
I'm not.
Okay.
So starting with
Let's
chair.
move on to the next one.
So
Who's
chair-
doing it?
Yeah, Rocky's volunteer, does anyone else want to be chair?
But are we saying that then
Or
the
co-chair.
non-LSC members that are voted in?
Yeah,
then
so-
not have-
So the non-LSC members can be chair, but right now we're voting to establish that committee. If we don't have a chair, then we don't have a committee. So this is my personal opinion, I think that we can handle the chairmanship within the committee, the LSC. I don't mind a non-LSC member, but it's an important thing for us in terms of like the voting that we have to do. It's open, but I would suggest that the chair be on the LSC.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
I mean, just to go back to what AIC Munns was saying about having a thread of people who are keeping involved in every single step of the process, as we bring in community members into different parts of the process, I think having a person who's gonna vote inevitably at the end of this process as the chair feels to me to make more sense.
I just want to duly noted that Jose did say that he could have someone that's not a member of the LSC. So if anyone was interested in that, of course, I already have a candidate in mind, and that's fine. It would be someone, one of the staff members that our vote is done, and we're done, we know who's gonna do it. But one of the staff members could do that job if we wanted. It does seem like you guys feel strongly that it should be an LSC member, and that's fine. I just want to make sure it's out there, the balloon is out there, that it can be a staff.
So we should have our agenda for each one, a vote on the members. So right now we'll start, then when we need to review, we can say, all right, we want to switch a chair, we want to add a fourth member, we want to do whatever. Now that we've started reviewing this, there's a person who's been very, very involved, and we want to get them more involved. So I'm looking at, this is step one, but we need to hold that we can keep voting on how to do this each meeting.
Can this also change if a staff member does express
That's
interest in becoming the chair or co-chairing?
Yes.
Or let's go back, we've established we have a chair, a secretary, and a coordinator.
Yeah.
Do we need to add a chair, a co-chair, a secretary, and a coordinator? And would it be fair, staff member, co-chair, LSC member, chair? Just a thought.
Do we have people who want to nominate? If someone wants to right now.
I mean, I have someone that I want to nominate.
Oh,
It's been a busy week. I don't know if I've
Oh.
actually had a chance to speak to her, but yes.
oh.
I do believe this person I have in
Yeah,
mind.
you need her yes first.
We have a lot of
Or if
eyes
you
on
have
you,
her
right?
yes, I'd vote for it right now.
Yes, Kim Leibovitz said that she would also be the co-chair. And she is one of the 6 staff members that would be involved. So I did think it would be a good idea to have a staff member, but if we want to move forward with just these 3 and then add the co-chair later, that's fine. If we're going with the body that we had decided, 1 person from each one of those 6 parent groups, 1
That's the
person
body.
for IB, 1 person for the union, 4 more teachers, 6 and 6, and then Kim would be involved in the whole thing. But if we just want to go with this one, these 3 people, that's fine.
I think it's fairly, right, so we gotta, like, the start is 3, but we should state that too. We should do a motion that says we're gonna have a representative from A, B, C, D, E, that as each person confirms this, then we'll vote them on. And I mean, if Kim says yes right now, I'm happy to make a motion for that too.
But I don't think she can be motioned in until we approve her as a member of the committee.
Or
Right, don't you have to vote on these people?
Okay, 1 second. So the first thing that we need to do is allow non-LSC members to be part. We did that.
Yeah, we're
So
good.
we did that. Now, we need to agree on the composition of the committee, right? So we talked about,
Co-chair, the chair, secretary, coordinator, then representation from all 6 parent groups, and representation from teachers, staff, and stakeholders within the building. Am I missing? Are you furiously typing?
Wait, sorry, say that again?
So we've got chair,
Uh-huh.
secretary,
Uh-huh.
coordinator,
Uh-huh.
then 6, which are the parent groups.
Uh-huh.
Then we have the teachers, staff, internal stakeholders.
Okay, you guys lost me because
Okay,
we motioned to include non-LLC members.
yeah, that's good.
We're motioning for a structure. Within that structure, why do we need to
That is the
distinguish?
structure.
Well,
No,
the
no, no.
structure is gonna change once we're
So-
done with the review
that's right,
process.
so the structure is determining those 3 roles, chair, secretary, and coordinator. Then we can figure out who's in
Oh,
the actual committee.
They're gonna figure out the rest. Okay, so the chair of the committee is gonna figure out all the bits and pieces.
Well, I mean,
Okay.
we're,
Did you want me to
That's the
include a
next item of
co-chair? Or
I'm not
just a
opposed to
chair?
having a co-chair,
Yeah, we'll put
I
it in
would
there.
recommend a co-chair.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's
alright.
but
not-
again, it's open to everyone.
Yeah.
It's not mandated that it be one, it's kind of like what Bridget said, right? So, chair, secretary, coordinator,
Co-chair.
and then co-chair.
Yeah, that's what we'll do.
So we'll make a motion to set up the the selection committee to include a chair, a co-chair, a secretary, and a coordinator. That's the motion.
A second.
All right. They've moved 1 step further. It's like when you get it.
All in favor? Thank you, the motion passes. Now, we can talk about how many and who and why. So this is what I was bringing. So Sissy is going to be sort of like involved in as much as we are able to do so. So the LSC in its current structure has 3 teachers, 2 teachers, 1 non-teacher, 6 parents, 1 community member. So we're missing 1 community member. Now, so that's a total of 10 people. Now we're thinking about adding parent groups. So that's 6. That gets us to 16. Then the next thing is represent key stakeholders from inside the building. Yeah, I like to use that term because it's people who are, it could be teachers, it could be staff, and whatnot.
That's 6.
So I would bring that up to the group. The number that we're coming up with is 6. Is that,
16, so.
are people okay with that?
Yeah, 26.
Okay, in terms of balance, in terms of representation? Okay.
Wait, is it 16 or 17 with this?
No. So we got 16 to start with. Now we're gonna add another 6 from inside the building. I thought we said 3, but 6.
You told me 6 in the email, so if you're putting.
Oh no, I was trying to figure out earlier, a couple meetings ago, you mentioned you had a group of teachers that were interested in doing the whole process, but I couldn't remember how many you said, and I never saw a list of those teachers, so I couldn't confirm. So how many?
Well, we have 6. We took vote.
Okay.
Okay,
Go with it.
and she's in the group of 6.
Of course.
Very good, so 22. The furious, we need to come up with like a fun name to identify or talk about these 22. We have 22 of us that are going to be part of the selection committee.
Could we make it 26 so the logo be rushing to 26? This will be 2026 now.
We're good there. Okay, so we said 20, so 22 for. Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to have the selection committee to include the current members of the LSC, excluding our student representative, the 6 representatives from our parent groups, and everybody please keep me honest, that we do have 6. I have FOP, I have PSO, I have REP, I have Peirce Bright Caregivers, I have Diverse Learner Parent Group, and I have the Bilingual Advisory Committee.
Do you have REP and Equity Committee?
I have REP.
Do you have Equity Committee?
Yeah, this is.
I don't have the Equity Committee as a, like it's,
Parent group.
it's as a
Can we
parent
include
group.
them?
I think that by having Nicole and Lavon as members of the LSC, they're already speaking. Unless you feel any different.
I don't.
All right. So they're already included by already wearing one hat.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Can I ask for one, this all sounds great. However, when we shift from the resume review to the interview,
Yes.
I'm worried that we're gonna become stagnant because we haven't voted. We don't need to vote again on a new structure to include community members, the 70+ community members, into the next processes. Okay.
They're volunteers, but I wouldn't call them committee members.
I just don't want to bottleneck
I agree.
any parts of the process.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree there. Unless. Okay, so.
I'll second it.
Question,
Can I-
on, we're at 22, right?
Yes.
And we don't have any community-only member, right? Like non-school involved.
We have one, well, what do you mean? So
Just
we have, besides
non,
Lamont, you mean?
non-LLC.
Community member outside of the LSC.
An option. I'm just trying to
Oh,
get to
wait.
23 since we're in Chicago. I'm just trying to get us to 23.
Maybe between now and then, if we do get a community rep,
Because we
Yeah.
have one.
That'll come.
But
I
again,
know-
if
I know
if we
you-
get a community rep that's vacant onto the LSC, then
That's
that would be
another
covered.
I think so.
okay.
We're
Those
hoping.
community reps should be speaking in the voice of the community.
This is also an incentive for that, for the community member, right? So you bring up a good point. What happens if at the next meeting, we have a slate of individuals that are interested in becoming community reps, and we then get to vote on them? They immediately become members of the committee. Are we okay with that? Okay. So that's your 23. So find something, okay, that's it, public services then. Okay? Any other questions? All right. Okay, so I'll do it again. So I'd like to make a motion for the principal selection committee to include the current members of the LSC, along with any community member that will be voted, if so, between now and the end of the process.
Okay, let me just simplify that.
Yes.
You motion for the principal selection committee, to include all LSC members, 6 community members, 6 teachers, total of 22. Oh gosh, I see why I have to put.
So the 6 community members, we're talking about parent groups,
Yeah,
representatives.
Should I be specific?
I think
Okay.
so.
Yes.
Yeah, one for each parent group is explicit in the plan.
Can you change that to staff though?
Instead of saying 6
Staff.
teachers, can you just say staff,
Yeah.
just in case?
One for each parent group.
Yes, anyone in the building, yes.
4 walls, more than 4 walls.
Okay.
Well, there's 22 in that service. Very good.
I'll second.
All in favor? Thank you very much. Okay. What's that?
The next one.
Yeah, so before we get there, I'd like us, so now that we have this committee in place, one item in the timeline that we need to adjust is when are we meeting to do the review? So now we can move into that, this is kind of like next steps, right? So You know, we've circulated those. So immediate next steps is now that the folks have been, you know what those folks are, that we can have them sign the agreement. And then now we need to figure out a date for resume review. So I don't know, I think you have some thoughts.
And does each of the parent groups have to come up with like a?
They're gonna have one nominee. If there's something that happens, we can go and find an alternate.
So we need to give them a
Or
date
they
until,
will need to get.
you know, what day to give us those nominees, so we have.
That's right. So I mean, the most immediate thing is the resume review, so they need to, yeah, so. Full disclosure, I have reached out and explained that this was an alternative to discussing, so they know.
Confidentiality reasons, the resumes stay in the school and everyone comes here and reviews, and people don't take the resumes home.
That is correct.
So we have to have the ability to all meet. We have to have enough of a time period. We can't just say it's just this 1 hour, because you're not gonna get everyone in this 1 hour. You need to have enough time that everyone can get here to access the material, enough time to digest it, and then to be able to come to a consensus, or rather fill out the rating criteria for everyone to have that opportunity, so that the list is narrowed down. And we need to be able to do it with a responsible amount of haste
Are you talking about the non-LC members?
across the board.
Everybody. All 22.
I mean, yeah, I know that, right, we can see the resumes right now, but a person from diverse learners group cannot access the message that Department of Principal Quality has shared. So they need to come here, they need to look at them, but then we all need to come together to go to say, yes, this is the number 1, this is the number 2, this is the number 3. And that's not gonna happen in 1 hour, that's not gonna happen in 1 day, and we can't let it stretch out over a month. So I
Well,
think that's what,
let's clarify that. I think now that we voted non-LSC members in, all they need to do is sign the confidentiality agreement, and then we share the resumes and cover letters with them.
So
I remember Jose saying it.
Let's
they need
find
to
out.
be present,
Okay.
physically present in the room.
That was a matter of fact.
Okay.
What's that?
That was a matter of fact that it has to be within the room.
So they can't.
We cannot
This
share
is
room.
not a
Correct.
remote
So we have an unfair advantage,
situation.
this was part of the reservations that CPS had about
Okay.
opening the process up.
Okay, so why
We
don't
want to make
we,
that happen.
why don't we open up the room for them like an hour before us?
So let's talk about this. So we're going to have a meeting, and the purpose of that meeting is to review the resumes and whittle down that list of 19 to X. That's less than 19. It's going to happen that day, is the goal. Eric seems to be, I mean, I think what you're saying is it's not gonna be enough time for that to happen.
I'm thinking if I'm the representative of Peirce Pride Givers, right, and I've said, all right, I don't know how big it is, let's just say that there's 25 members in the Peirce Pride Caregivers group, and I volunteered, and I come in and I review all these. I'm gonna go back and talk to those 25 other people before making a judgment.
But you
No,
can't.
you can, and
You
it's
can't.
the rubric, right? So this
Yeah, I
first one,
was
from my
gonna say-
understanding, is just to weed everybody out. Because all 19 aren't qualified and aren't what we're looking
Right.
for in our advertising.
So
it's-
question, since you said the resumes have to be physically in place, can one of the staff teacher members kind of have open hours where they can come and be like, here's the 19 resumes, sit down, take a read or whatever,
It's to
and
give
give
people
it
more
back
than an
to,
hour.
well,
Yeah.
whatever time they need, like 2 hours, whatever.
Yeah.
With one of the,
Yeah, but
since it's physically in the building.
you need
So
to
are
have
you
the
saying
opportunity
you
to
want-
digest it.
Let me just, I'm trying to wrap my head around this. You're saying for those that are the non-LSC members that are part of the committee, so they have time to just read through it before they use the rubric to start actually
Yeah.
assessing it.
Yeah, they can come and we give them a room, here's the 19 resumes, spend some time with them, bring it back once you're done.
The example that I gave Matthew is, you know, the candidates have schools that they have been employed with before. I spent most of last weekend looking up those schools. And it took me a good 5 hours of just, is this a school that has a diverse community? Is this a school that's got a large amount, or is this a school that's only got 200 people in it? And reading about it, and that's not something that you can make a decision in an hour or two.
But I think with the cover letter and the actual resume and what we put in the advertisement, I don't know for the initial yes and no, we need to do all that background information.
It
To just
helps,
use the rubric.
it helped me significantly.
To answer
So
some of the
that's more
questions.
than what was in there.
What
Yeah,
you're referring to is the rubric.
But-
Just saw your tabs. you
But
had,
Yeah.
the resume and the cover letter isn't gonna answer all those questions. It isn't gonna say,
Yeah.
was this a big school, was this a small school, was
Yeah.
this a diverse school, was this an IB school? You need to sit there, whether it's on your phone in front of your computer, and start looking at, Jones Smith Elementary, what was that school about? When this applicant says, I came from that school and I did A, B, and C, look it up and you say, oh, actually, that school is absolutely not what this person represented.
What are you proposing?
The folks who do not have the ability that I just had to review
Yeah.
these and think about it, need a time period to think.
Okay.
They need to look at the resume, and then digest it, sleep on it for a night. I had the luxury that I was able to call peers of mine who are at some of those other schools and say, how do you feel about your school leadership? And that's,
It's almost like a part one, part two.
everyone else needs to, if we want them to equally support a resume, they need that equal opportunity to just
So what are
think about it.
we left the physical resumes in here,
Yes.
and then also provide a laptop with the guest at Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And be able to look up the schools, is
Yep.
there,
So why can that not happen at the meeting?
It takes time.
It's 19 resumes. I looked, it's a lot of
It's
information.
hours.
Just reading 19 cover letters will take forever.
I'm
Yeah.
just asking.
No, I know. It's a
No,
lot of
and-
information.
Yeah, so I say, let's just say, what's today, the 12th, 13th? If we decided that we wanted to make an agreement, narrow the list down on the 21st, 22nd, that between now and the 22nd, the resumes are in this room and the people who have volunteered to help can come in, look at them, and think about who it is they're gonna vote. And then we hold our meeting, so that they're able to come into the meeting informed versus spending,
Yeah.
X hours and hours, 22 people spending the time to review 19 resumes. You don't want to just lock yourself in the room and spend the whole day doing it. Let people have the time to think about.
So, let me throw something, and we're going to come to a vote on this.
Yeah.
Let me throw something out there. 22 people, 19 resumes. The idea is that all 22 of us would have reviewed the 19 resumes.
Yeah.
If we go and sit down in a room, there's 22 of us, again, 4 tables, 5 tables. Each table has 4 resumes. You're sitting at that table, those are the resumes that you're reviewing.
Yeah, but
Exactly.
you want to, like,
We're saying like,
when you're
nine
reviewing
people,
resumes, you want
9
to,
people in one room, you're not gonna get a baby in one. I get that, but is there a way? I'm trying to see how we can, we could also do this as a half day or like a 3-hour thing commitment to say, we're gonna bring in the laptops, we're gonna have the phones, we're gonna have the means for people to discuss this and review it, to discuss it as a group, but also review it themselves so that they can fill out the rubric. And then I'm thinking about it almost kind of like jury deliberation. We give ourselves, we time box this. After 2 hours, we come back together, we have our rubric, and we have some ranking that we have. If we really feel like at that point in time, we cannot possibly rank the folks accordingly, as a body, we can have another meeting.
I think that's good for the meeting. I think everyone needs the opportunity to read ahead of time.
100%.
That's all it is.
Yeah,
That's
I
like, The room's open, the resumes are there, there's a computer, there's a phone there. And I don't know if it's the first 3 days up to the meeting, 5 days up to the meeting, anyone who's in this group can come in and do their due diligence. And we come to the meeting, we can do all the other stuff.
And I think like we do with students, we give rubrics to them before we give them assignments. So I think it's key to make sure that we have the rubric first. And then using that rubric while I'm reading through resumes and or checking out websites, et cetera, after school.
So I know that we voted to allow non-LSC members to be part of the committee. And I know there's at least one of them that's sitting in the room, and I know that they have done this before. I like to hear that.
Kim said that they were not able to review them, but I've been looking on, I think that if they are voted in and have signed the confidentiality agreement, I believe they can look at the resumes and cover letters before. I thought Jose said we all had to be here to complete the rubrics and obviously do the voting or whatever. To complete the rubrics, we had to be together. I think that that's insane to think.
We can
somebody's
confirm
gonna
that. I mean, that's.
I think that's the most important thing. We have to find out.
So if that's possible,
It's easier.
then we can give people whatever amount of time they need to do the review. My problem, I continue to have the same problem with the privacy issue. But if that's kind of what we want to do and rely on people and, just make sure that these are kept, confidential. On that basis, I suppose I don't have any, I'm okay with it. I just want to make sure that gets followed.
We gotta figure that out first.
Yeah.
That's
easy. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, we can figure that out.
Are you?
What if
you gonna
there's-
ask Jose?
Yeah, we're gonna ask him.
Right.
And I don't mean to put you on the spot, you wouldn't have an answer for that question. Okay, we can
Yeah,
figure it out.
Jose's the
Okay,
answer.
okay, we're gonna ask him.
So
We'll get an answer.
And then
Whether-
do the people that, like, is the representative from the 6 parent groups, do we have to vote those people in using their name?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay, and
That's
then we
right.
have our 6, do we have those 6 names today?
We don't. We're going to, that's the email that's going out tonight to say, we'd like to welcome you. You can give us those
One
names.
person from each, we've got these 6 people
Yeah, so
here.
you're gonna give us the name.
Do you need them right now?
You're gonna give it to her. You wanna share?
Sure.
Do you need do you have it on a digital copy you can send me?
Right. You wanna see what kind of paper it's?
We did paper ballots, didn't we?
I don't know.
Do we have?
We all did it together to like count the vote, because we had a vote today.
Got
So
it.
anybody that volunteered, we put them on a ballot, everybody voted today on actual pieces of paper, we sat together, unfolded everything, counted it. Jerry Baumgarten, Caitlin Bensel, Evan Trad, and Ellen Zander, who's not here anymore. And then Kim would be here to represent for IB, and then Sarah Walsh would do for the union.
Okay, I won't remember any of that. Can you
I
do
can
me a
send it to
favor? Send me their names and their email addresses.
Absolutely.
So then what we'll do is we'll send them a copy of the agreement.
Okay.
They will sign it, they'll get back to us.
Okay.
And then we can, once we get the green light from Jose or whatever he says we can and cannot do, if we can share it, again, reluctantly, we'll do it online. I'm not comfortable with it, I just want to be clear, but, but we'll find a way for them to have access.
I would say whether or not we're allowed to do it electronically, we've got the
Yes.
paper copies available.
So that they have the
So
ability to review it.
bring in our date that we're gonna meet, and then we need the time period that everything's available here.
All right. Can everybody take a look at their calendars, because we need to figure out a date that we can meet for this purpose. And we will share that with the parent group representatives. But we gotta start somewhere, right? So I mean, I'm gonna go on a limb and say that next week is probably going to be difficult, given the first week of class.
Plus, we need to give it a week before.
Again, that was not a joke, nobody.
Sorry, I was.
Okay, the week after that.
Yeah, I know we want to do it quick, but I think it's doing a disservice to folks to try to help them think about this while getting all the students into the right places and getting the classrooms in order. So the week of the 25th is what we're shooting for. I have no planned travel for the foreseeable future.
Monday, the 25th isn't that to me, so.
26th to the 29th,
I cannot do 28.
26th, 27th, 29th. You don't think Friday?
No, I wouldn't do Friday.
All right, 26th, 27th.
I don't mean to put the parent group reps that are in the meeting here on the spot, but are there some reservations as far as you can tell, 26, 27?
27.
26.
Twenty-six.
And the 27th, so the 26th.
There's a what meeting?
Friends
And
and
Peirce.
Family meeting.
We can reschedule that.
I mean, I think the 26th, that Tuesday.
We'll make it work.
So we said 26? Okay, so August 26th, so the time, so we want to give ourselves sufficient time, right? So again, thank you in advance for volunteering. It's going to be a long meeting, so bring vitamins, bring something. So but what time do we want to start?
So are we saying that we're reaching out to Jose to see if things can be shared with you?
Correct. But even if they're not, if the answer is no, again, there needs to be sufficient time for those representatives to have access. My suggestion would be physical access
Yes.
within the building. If he says we can, again, reluctantly, I'm not in favor of that. I just want to be clear.
Could I ask the room who is the point person for each parent organization, just so I make sure I'm contacting the right person?
I'm gonna give you the list.
Okay.
I'll share.
And then as soon as we have the names, those NDAs need to go out like ASAP, so there's enough time to
Yeah,
get them
send it
back,
today.
get them signed, and then we can share it and stuff.
We can get those names.
We can put 30 work on the 26th.
1:30,
What India are we using?
beginning.
Is there universal, the school one? On the project, the India?
Oh, if there's
Two
a-
parts to it.
There's
There's
one.
meeting, discussing, and then there's voting.
But it's all in one meeting.
Yeah, so I can't be here before 4:30, but I already know which way I want to vote. So I think start well before I show up, everyone have hearty discussions, and just,
Well, again,
Wait
it's
till I
the
get here to
review
vote.
for the nod, and then the people using the rubric to actually see
Yep.
if this person's qualified for.
Rubric will also be shared beforehand, so people can start putting stuff in there. And the way I'm envisioning it is, let's go free, so it's gonna be a tab for each candidate, and then the rubric topics, and then the columns are going to be people's scores.
So Randy, is this open or closed?
What's
it has
that?
to be
It's an open,
closed.
It's going to be a
Closed
closed
meeting.
meeting, that's right.
Yeah, I
So-
remember Jose saying that.
So what's gonna happen though is we need to start the meeting and then go into closed session. Okay, so time, you can say,
I mean, I really had.
45.
so can we make it 4 o'clock? Is that okay? 4 o'clock?
I'm probably in the same boat as Eric. I might not be able to start, but
That's the first piece.
What can do
4 o'clock on the 26th.
is tell everyone what's important.
Yeah.
But hypothetically. if
All right,
everyone's
so that's the
working,
item that we need to add to the timeline, whoever is
I can do that.
the holder of that. So I'd like to make a motion to call for a special meeting where the principal selection committee will go into closed session to review the resumes
And pick finalists.
That's right.
Pick
Oh, the fixed
finalists.
time.
Yeah, who we're gonna interview.
All in favor? Thank you. All the items, the remaining items on the timeline, I am assuming should not be affected, but maybe we can take a quick look at those just to make sure we're not missing anything.
You said Tuesday, August 24th at 4.
August 26th.
Oh.
26?
Sorry, I meant to say 26th, yeah. Yep, August 26th.
Yeah.
The rubrics, can we have like non-shared rubrics where like we cannot see the other people's grade?
Oh, you don't.
So,
I just feel like there's a little bit of influence of
I
like,
would
if I see
do
how
oh,
people
so you're saying,
do your own thing.
so
and
when
bring it.
you're done, so, okay, that's fine. We can create one for each one of the members, and I can tally that up, if that's not what we're around. We can do a form, we're gonna do a Google form for that. Just gonna go into your thing. That's not a problem at all.
I liked, when we did the last principal evaluation, after we filled in everything, we discussed it together. And some of us adjusted our opinions based on our discussion. So if everyone
Which is
comes up
okay,
with an
yeah.
independent opinion, I want us to discuss those opinions before we say these are our top 4, top 5, top 6, whatever.
Yeah, no, I mean, the initial kind
Yeah.
of grading to be individual and then
Yeah.
obviously have a discussion, public, and where we can see the rubric and then
Right.
we can have a discussion and adjust if people feel like.
You might convince me I've made a
Right.
dumb decision.
Right.
I want you to convince
Yeah.
me.
Anything else? So we're gonna adjust the timeline. I like to also kind of send, this is,
Matthew,
we wanna, yes,
can
sorry.
can I put you on the spot a little bit? When can we expect the rubric?
I'll send it to you tomorrow.
Okay.
But the rubric is gonna go out to you guys first, right, before we send out to the rest of them.
Yeah.
I'll send a version of it so you can see what it is.
Okay.
When people agree with it, then we'll create one for each participant.
Got it.
And then do we have to vote on the rubric?
I don't think that's necessary.
If we did, we can do it at the meeting.
Or we
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
have when we go with that.
I think whether we explicitly vote on it or not, at the end of that meeting, sets how we move forward, how we make the sausage.
So that pushes the timeline a bit.
That's how I wanted to make sure.
We have, the special meeting was the 14th apparently. So we're pushing that to the 26th. And then we had first round interviews for the 23rd. So, yeah, I was just answering
No,
your
thank you.
question.
I don't have it
Yeah.
in front of me, so thanks
Yeah.
for bringing that up. So can we can you pull it up? And so we said the first round of interviews was scheduled for the
It
23rd.
was supposed to be like, basically the following week after the special meeting.
Under that, would be, we could do the week of the 2nd, it's Labor Day weekend. 26th, Tuesday. We've got the possibility of contacting folks and requesting to interview them the week of the 1st. And given that these are all professionals within the education field, I don't think they're taking the week of Labor Day off for me.
Well, but at the same time, that's right, at the same time, like, from the the next day, I mean, we essentially going to tell them the week after we make a decision.
Yeah.
Is that, I'm wondering if it's enough time, or why not? I don't know what folks think.
Do we think 7 days is sufficient timeline to get someone prepped or a candidate prepped for an interview, especially a first one.
I think it's harder to get our interviewers prepped.
Yeah.
I think that everyone in the candidates is gonna be able to come in, you know, these are folks that are far along in their career, they know how to apply for jobs and interviews, it's gonna be, can we get ourselves together?
I'm just thinking as far as scheduling goes, like just being respectful of people's lives.
And I am happy to keep moving, so we think the Labor Day weekend is too quick, I'm fine with that, the following week is the week of the 8th.
There's an ILT Monday after school that we work 10th, the open house, and an LSC meeting. That's on the 10th, yeah. to Regular meeting.
I mean, can we use the regular, no,
And
no, that's for
open house,
interviews,
Yeah.
the 10th.
Regular LSC meetings need to do regular LSC
But I'm
stuff.
saying that's also open house, we had talked about changing it.
Did we officially move it last? We just brought up that it was a.
Not sure.
Alright, so we need to put that on the next meeting's agenda, which is adjust the LSC schedule.
But that isn't.
It isn't.
So that would be special.
We have to do
We'll
a
work with
discussion.
that on the 26th, on August 26th, decide.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright, so that's our open session item on August 26th, is to move the LSC meeting from the 10th of September to the 17th of December, or of September. Then we go into closed session, and we do all of our other stuff. Maybe we'll have an open session about traffic as well.
So we're saying September 10th for interviews.
No,
No, the 10th, the
10th
10th
is
day
out.
does not work.
Right.
It's
So-
open house.
Okay, so what
So
day?
the
I mean,
9th
that-
Oh, the 9th or the 11th if you want that week. So the 8th is an ILT meeting after school, and there's people on the ILT that are on staff wise. So it will be the 9th or the 11th.
I don't think everyone's gonna be able, all candidates are all gonna be available all at the same time. And the 11th, the 11th I'm posting, I have a work function in the evening, the 11th. Right, so our interviews, we're not gonna have 22 people interviewing a single person. The interview body needs to be a lot smaller than that. I am, from my perspective, comfortable calling it the week of the 8th, and it is, you just need to schedule each person based on, right? Candidate 1 is available on the 8th, great. Candidate 2 is available on the 9th, great. As long as we're able to make sure that our interviewers are able to have continuity.
But we're still assuming all LSC members are also in the interviews, correct?
Yes.
So that is a busy week school-wide, I mean, there's multiple events.
Maybe the next.
Other
So-
than the next week, the week of the 15th, school-wise after school is important.
Other LSCs I've spoken to have done it on Saturday because it's and
Yes.
they do all the interviews on one day.
Okay, yeah, I like that better too, because these are folks that are running schools right now. You want to work a full day and then try to do this. I think Saturday's
See
a
their
great.
stamina.
They made it this far in their career, I hope they got stamina. I think Saturday's a great idea. Just an entire day on a Saturday, it sucked for us, but,
And we're not having all 22 in the interviews.
I think that's crazy to have 22 people for the interview.
So the
Okay,
only
one
other,
second,
before,
I'm so sorry. I don't mean to cut you
no,
off.
you're,
We're not gonna have 22 people asking
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah.
But as many people can show up as they want. That's,
You want an audience and then a couple.
they need to know they need to know who their
Okay.
constituents, their potential constituents are.
So yes,
Or-
not everyone is gonna ask
Or
questions.
if you do a Saturday, a format could be a rotating, you know.
Sure.
and it's-
I just wanted to kind of address
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah, okay. All right,
So what days?
Saturday's great.
The which Saturday?
We're in September. We said the week of the 8th is busy, but I don't know, Saturday the 13th, is that like, is that a feasible thing? Or does the week of the 8th being really busy mean that people deserve Saturday the 13th to decompress? All right, Saturday the 20th.
I know I can go there and we have to go to parents' weekend. But I can't remember, so if that is a day that works for everybody, I guess it's fine if I'm not there, but I'll find out, I can't remember.
There's actually a lot of people.
I don't feel like we're pushing it too far from, once we make a decision on the 26th, now we're talking about 20, it's a full month, we're waiting to start interviews. I mean, I know we want to give people time to decompress, but they're applying for a job, come on.
What about
Saturday
the
the
6th? You get a day off that week.
Hey,
Yeah.
Yeah, Saturday the 6th,
Yeah.
9/6.
Saturday the 6th.
We have interview day.
What's the next item?
Yeah, there was the time and thinking about this.
Oh, sorry. What time do you
We
want to
tried to
start?
think about, yeah.
Early is fine.
8 a.m.
8 a.m.
I'm blocking the whole day in my calendar now.
You need to vote on it. We need to vote.
We're not gonna get everybody the whole time, which is fine.
So interviews, September 6th, starting at 8 a.m. Okay. That work? All right, next item.
Calendar's blocked.
Special meeting after that for LSC.
Right, we're supposed to whittle that down if we really want the forum.
When is the September LSC?
We're supposedly gonna make it the 17th.
A week later, or?
That's a regular,
Yeah.
that's a regular meeting.
Right.
So the week of the 7th or the 8th, is there a day that week that works?
Is it too crazy?
Or we saying that week just doesn't work, period?
I mean, for what?
Do
I like
do
your- I like
do
your-
a special
Where are you
meeting
going with this? I know where you're going.
to decide or on the candidates that are going to make it in the next round.
My thought is it too crazy to just make the decision on the 6th? We're gonna spend a marathon day interviewing everybody. At the end of it, we decide this is who didn't make it to the next round, or if we want to continue with the forum. Just make the decision right there.
So then you don't have to have a special meeting. Okay? So September 6th will be interview day, and then the committee is gonna get into a special session.
So that needs to be announced, that there will be a special session at the end of the day. So we need to fix that to a certain time though. I understand interviews can be a little bit flexible and some people talk longer than others. But to make an announcement for a meeting, we have to set, this is the time that we're holding the meeting, this is the time that we're holding the vote, so that the general community can schedule to come in and.
Maybe we would have a better idea after the resume or.
26.
We'll have a
We don't
better
even know
idea
how
how
many
many people will actually.
Okay.
Usually it's about an hour, right? Interview typically.
Alright, so that has to be on the agenda then for our resume meeting, is that we will vote on the time that we are going to announce the meeting to narrow our candidates down.
Is there interview guidebook or like a question that CP typically uses?
We did that too, they have that in the,
There's-
LSC, yeah.
Mhm.
And they-
It's Form 6, 7,
That's what I'm saying.
Page 264. I'm just thinking. But it's at the end of it. But those are the actual forms.
Ready to write it down?
No, it's the actual forms. 6, 7, 8.
Where is
That's,
it?
that's cute.
Tell me this.
4 and 5 is the.
Took us
is
forever
What
to
version
find
did you use?
It's the page number that no. Okay, so we talked about resume review, then the interviews so resume review on the 26th of August, the interviews on the 9th, I'm sorry, the 6th of September. Then we have our regular meeting on the 17th. I think that's what we're gonna have to vote to move that meeting. I don't know that we need to do that today, but we can. It's on the agenda.
It's not on the agenda.
So we're gonna add that for next time. Okay? All right. So interviews on the 6th, presumably we'll have our list finalized of the ones that are going to the forum. So the next.
The next step
forum.
before the forum will be basically on-site and reference checks.
Do we want to do that before, or I think we talked about that last
Before
the forum, or yeah, okay. So we have like a week's time or
Uh-huh.
2 weeks. Okay?
It's a week.
So I say before this meeting, the LSC meeting on
The 17th.
17th. And if something comes back that we didn't like, then, we can be like, hey, we just asked references, here's a problem or whatever. The town will give us the LSC meeting to make a decision if somebody needs to be excluded or.
I think part of that, so we usually have time on that you're welcoming us, because if you're not a volunteer, technically you can't do it. You're not clear to
Oh, right, you gotta be at least a level 2 volunteer.
I believe so.
Uh,
Yeah,
No, you can be escorted, but you
Okay,
can't
so-
interact with children.
Yeah.
okay, so, okay.
Yeah, and that's just, when I did facility stuff, I wasn't, but I couldn't interact with children.
Okay, so the forum is supposed to be one. What was the?
The forum is because the on-site visit is a week long. So if we're looking at 9/6, that week, you're looking from 9/8 to 9/12.
So we're saying that. Excuse me. That's pretty quick for.
That's assuming that after the,
Unless you extend it.
We're
that
done.
we get a hold of somebody on
That's
the 8th
right.
that allows us to come and set them at the time. And those that are staff members.
I would
are
expect
able
the
go
forum
with
to be,
coverage.
I would expect the forum to be the week of the 15th.
It's gonna take time to organize.
We're doing formats for the-
No.
Right, because you're doing it, let's say
It's
we got
okay.
it,
You can keep it if you say.
so the site visit, so we're notified. The week of the 8th seems
Run out of battery on the
Quick.
fan.
optimistic.
I think
Yeah.
the week of
Yeah.
the wait, even for site visits.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
It's pretty aggressive.
Because
Like that may go into
that's
the
like you're calling Monday to see, hey, can
Yeah.
you see your children at school?
Okay, so would say site visits.
For 2 weeks, in a sense. Whenever we can get in.
So the 8th through the 19th.
We could also reach out to them
Yeah.
now and say, this is the week that we would be, if you selected to the next round. I don't know if it's gonna keep them on the edge of their seat or what, but,
No, I wouldn't.
so the 15th, so it's in the week of the 15th is when we're gonna do the site visits.
The 15th through the 19th.
Okay, not do anything the week of the 7th.
Correct.
Correct.
So I can recommend site visits be done. It's tough, but during the school day, you see something completely different than when students aren't in there. It is really
Well,
hard.
Oh,
to
absolutely.
during the day,
It has to be during the
parents
day.
Talk to people.
Yeah, and you want the vibe.
Yeah,
It should be
that
said
is-
there,
I don't know
those
if you can
staff.
talk to staff.
I was part of a site visit where staff talked to us.
Dang, who's if the guy doesn't get the job? The guy or gal, I should say, but I mean, who's the?
I mean, ended up getting it. Like when they were coming for our like systems.
Well, the staff doesn't know what
So,
it's about.
They're gonna figure it out.
Yeah, I'm right.
I need to.
yeah.
Right.
Okay, so site visits,
Site visits
the
definitely
week,
during
the
the
week,
day.
the week, we can talk about that. I want us to kind of, let's have the dates and then we can talk about this actual, how we get it to where. So interviews on the 6th, the week of the 8th, nothing really happens, it's just notification that will come in, we like to come in the following week. So ideally, the site visits would take place between September 15th and September 19th.
Correct.
The next item is a form. Candidate form.
And I think you that allows planning time.
So that planning can start now. Like, we can already come up with that, but yes, absolutely.
We need to nominate out of the 70 or so volunteers, we need,
In the parent groups and the, yeah, for sure.
we need to know who's gonna run that.
Agreed. So the week of the 22nd for the forum looks like it's too early. Okay, so that takes us to the week of the 29th. Understanding that October 2nd is Yom Kippur. So that week, whether it's before or after, there might be some folks that might not be able to make it. Both of the committee,
30th is a Tuesday.
right?
In which sense do you guys feel like it's too early, the week of the 24th?
Mm,
I mean, we're completing separately. I mean, we're gonna complete the school visits. We have the 19 LSC meeting, and then the following week, we can just, I'm sorry, 17, we can just start the,
The following week is Rosh Hashanah,
oh, that's,
23rd, 24th.
okay.
So
And then also like questions to the firm and stuff. Those questions we probably have to do in the initial interview.
there will be, correct. So we said site visit the week of the 15th if possible. So that pushes us, and then we have the different holidays, so that pushes us to the week of October 6th. For the forum.
Has anybody done forums, like, what is the setup typically? Is it one candidate, all of them at the same
The
time?
way we did it last time, it was, one candidate was in the auditorium with the families, community, everything like that. And then we had, the other candidate in the library with the staff. And then there were 3 candidates at a time, so we rotated.
It's where the community and then the parent groups are gonna have like the opportunity also so that we can kind of like go rotating and like you said, okay. So in term, and again, I'm sorry, can we talk about the dates first and then
Yeah.
we'll talk about like the content? So the week of the 6th,
It's the form. The form, correct?
yes.
Yes.
There's an ILT meeting on Monday, and then we have our regular meeting scheduled.
See you guys.
Want to do it the Tuesday before the regular hours meeting?
Okay, I'm good. So that will be the candidate forum. So candidate forum, October 7th. It's a Tuesday, in particular time. 5 o'clock, 5:30.
Well, I think each
Oh,
person.
yeah. I mean, rotate,
on
like,
time,
things,
so again, it's
like at least
like
2 hours that I'm taking to do a rotating.
So
At least a half an hour with each
5,
candidate.
7, 5:37.
30 to 45.
And then logistically, give them a 5 minutes stop and break. Here's some water.
So for
Half hour. I've never done a forum like this. But when I do an in-depth interview, one-on-one, I spend more than an hour on a candidate. And that one-on-one, if you've got a dozen people that have the open forum to ask questions, I don't think that in half an hour, I don't think everyone who's interested would get a chance to ask a question. You know?
You wanna give each candidate like an hour? We'll have a rotating,
Yeah.
so at least you've got 2 hours there.
Yeah.
That's just 2 candidates.
And it's a hard thing to do.
What if we think about it and
Yeah,
return back to
Yeah,
this?
I just want to get like a date, like
Okay.
the
Yes,
content,
yes.
like how we get it
October
wrong.
7th works.
Okay.
That's our target.
And then start at 5 o'clock, we said.
Or earlier. if we can.
Yeah.
And then, so then the next item is actual,
The offer, the vote for offer.
we had said like the next day, but I think the next day is the regular meeting. October 8th, right? That's our regular meeting.
Yeah.
So do we want to go into closed session?
After the forum on the 6th, so then you can do a public vote on the 7th.
So 7th and the 8th, yeah.
Sorry, something, I
Megan and
apologize.
I.
Sorry.
That's right,
We're-
I'm looking at it.
We got it, we're good.
Let's put it down.
So that was one thing that I wanted to just make sure. So like, we're gonna have a forum, we're gonna spend a couple hours with the candidates. Are we good? Are we comfortable with turning around our decision the next day?
Which means you gotta leave time to be able to,
Gather the data and then
or we can call.
share it with the community, share it with the committee and the committee, and then vote. Is that enough time? I don't see how we get that done.
Okay, wait, no, you wanna share with the committees first before.
No, so, are we gonna have enough time to gather the inputs on the 7th, so that on the 8th, we're ready to go, is what I'm saying. I'm asking.
Yeah,
Your answer is yes?
no,
Oh, okay.
I don't think you're going to. Maybe you need to change the 7th to that, let's discuss, and then go into.
The 7th is when we have
Sorry,
so instead of the regular meeting on the 8th, we would go into closed session to discuss
Mhm.
and then talk about.
So we want to move our regular meeting.
We have to move it.
If you just go into closed session during the regular meeting,
We can.
Yes.
I mean, it depends on, those regular meetings, look at today, we spent an hour talking about the vote, so like, we can, it's just gonna extend the meeting, that's all. So, okay, so we'll say the 7th, the 8th, we will keep the regular meeting and we expect to go into closed session to discuss the results, and make and vote on the future administrator. Okay? October 8th. What time? Oh, so just the regular meeting at 5:30. That's right, 5:30. Okay.
The last item would be celebrating and letting people know.
Have the grills, at least one. We have meat and veggie and non-veggie. I'm ready for it.
Hypothetically, the person gets their contract put together in October, the condition is they have to do a Halloween party in costume.
Yeah.
And that's our celebration.
Or the move-a-thon. They didn't show up on the move-a-thon.
That's October 10th.
Um,
That's that Friday.
Why not?
Loosely, yes.
No, you and Dr.
He has to know.
No.
It's gonna be a busy week, is what I'm saying.
Okay, all right, so I think, we have a plan for a revised timeline. So I'd like to make a motion to adjust the timeline as follows.
Resume review day will be August 26th. We will hold interviews of the candidates on September 6th
At 8 a.m.
at 8 a.m.
And the 26th is at 4, right?
The 26th is at 4 p.m. We will hold our regular meeting on the 17th, but we will have we expect to have candidate or site visits the week of September 15th. We'll hold a candidate forum on October 7th at 4 p.m., starting at 4 p.m.
Sorry, say that again. Candidate forum.
4 p.m.
4 p.m. What date?
October 7th.
October 7th. Got it.
And then during our regular meeting scheduled for October 8th, we'll go into closed session to finalize the vote.
Regular meeting is which day?
October 8th.
8th. Okay.
We'll go into closed session.
May I suggest the candidate forum to be moved to 5? So it gives people, because typically a lot of people work to 5. And this is open to the public. And
What
so
did
it's
we
kind
say?
of 4.
Okay, so again, resume review 8:20. I'd like to make a motion for resume reviews to occur on August 26th at 4 p.m. The interviews September 6th at 8 a.m. The site visits the week of September 15th. The candidate forum October 7th at 5 p.m. The regular meeting October 8th at 5:30 p.m., during which time we'll go into closed session.
I'm in favor of just saying you're motioning to vote on the following timeline and include also that we have a regular meeting in between all of this on August
Regular
17th.
It's September 17th.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
That's right. We can change the next time.
Second revised timeline.
All in favor? You have more than 7. Thank you. All right. Any items that need to be, any questions on the timeline, the process? We're good. All right. Any other items that we need to add to the agenda for our next meeting?
I have one. Better like standardization of basically public participation.
Okay.
Because I already see a pattern in this process that someone can submit a letter. It took you nothing against you. It took you almost 6 minutes to read that letter. And if we have other people, or if we have 2 letters, we're already jammed up. So
Okay.
we need to have some discussion on that. Yeah.
So we're gonna add that as new business. So,
And a regular meeting.
right, so this is what we're talking about now.
Because I would like to avoid a situation where if we have like people emailing, it's like almost like a hack into the meeting, like, well, they're going to read this whole letter, and then we have people who arrive on site and then they can't talk. And then they're just waiting.
Okay, anything else?
Getting the anti-bullying coalition to review.
Wait, sorry. What about the anti-bullying?
Anti-bullying, I haven't given a name, but committee.
Oh, got it. It's a committee as a subcommittee of the LSC. Maybe not.
I don't know, like, I'm just gonna talk to some of you guys. and
Okay.
see what-
It's in progress.
Yeah.
It's in progress, and you're leading it.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? All right.
And that's another regular meeting date, February. That's kind of based on the calendar. Yeah. And the calendar is also student. Is that the same?
We can move Steve Rank, or you can keep Steve Rank in. LSC. I don't know if it matters. I know you're involved in it, but we can move C-Night. C-Night is more pliable, probably.
Okay.
We're not gonna mention the room there.
We still have
All right.
public participation.
I don't.
The float, you're not gonna talk about the float?
All right, that's under public now.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's get going. Please forgive me if I put you. Oyun? Hi.
Thanks everyone for being here and in with many different roles. I'm a parent, two children here, going first and sixth grade, for a year earlier. And also I'm on CPS educator, it's my 10th year starting. And so I have like some more notes, but it's late, so I will keep trying to keep it shorter. But I would like to start the school year. Like I know there were more teachers here earlier, but also everyone who's involved at home and in school. I would like to really say about in America in school we are really focused on verbal ability and how they stand up for themselves using the vocal. But I think it is really also important that we are teaching our children with the accountability of the action. And I think I grew up in 80s. I think we went out and we were just sent out and do a lot of things our own, and that was what we earned our confidence and how we learned the life. And I think that is that accountability is really lacking in every side of it nowadays. And I think we need to really go back to something that was old style, but that is really important. And so I would like all the educators and all the parents, you are educators too, right? And to think about keeping them accountable with actions at home and school. And so, in terms of not just verbal communication, you could have them to really utilize a gesture that is that might be different than the different culture. I think different language. I think that is still can be transferred through the different gestures, as well as the visual or written communication. And also, we talked about the budget cut with some of these a cook and a custodian. And I think this is great opportunity for students to step in and we can teach them how to clean after themselves really and actually really practicing, and also how the older students can be the leader of the taking out the students from this point to point. I understand as an educator there is some kind of regulation we need to follow, but I think this is really the time for us to be creatively problem solving together and actually have the children to learn how to be accountable. And in terms of the principalship, I think principal committee and everything, I really appreciate you are trying to open up to bring in other perspectives to the process. And I think historically resume is where it has been gatekeeper of seeing certain types of people, certain types of education. And so I think I really appreciate that you are including those community members to be reading and having the separate time to actually really digest. Thank you for suggesting that it should not be the same day, but different day to read it and really digest that and bring that opportunity, bring that conversation to the table. And I think in terms, I was in my former school, had went through this process of the principal, electing new principal, and I think I love that 6 teachers and staffs are already interested in participating. And I know we were doing in my former school, we did different committees, how they electing a person to be a part of the committee. So it is like voicing different perspectives from the school. So I hope some of those kind of process is being done in your school as well. And once again, thank you everyone being here, being really being part of the change.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you. Lauren?
I was taking into consideration kind of what you guys were talking about, inefficiency and when everybody has to come in, if you have to be in the room to review resumes. And I just had a suggestion that since everyone will probably be wanting the same information, instead of everyone having to look at the same CPS website, all of these other people, I don't want to put more work on you all, but it's possible to print, like CPS has all of the data of every single school, pull up those 19 sheets for the criteria, not criteria, but the 19 data sheets for all those 19 schools, just have them accompanying those resumes so that nobody's reinventing the wheel and looking up those schools separately on CPS websites for all the people who are in the room. Just wanted to put that out there as an option in case you guys aren't able to email out the resumes.
Thank you very much. Kim?
Hi, parent and staff member. I just want to say that in terms of the interview process, resume review process, the idea of looking at the resumes ahead of time. I don't know, we've done this when we did this in the past, we had all the resumes in the room the day we were reviewing the resumes. We sat in pods of 4 to 5 people. We reviewed a set of 4 to 5 resumes in that pod, filled out the rubric, passed those set of resumes to the next group. They filled out the rubric, passed it to the next group. We went around, and then by the end, you had however many. So in this case, it would be 5 groups of 5-ish, right? So you ended up with 5 rubrics from each group, and was able to then score. And so it made the process really easy. And then before scoring though, giving everybody time to read those in that time frame. And then you ended up with those scores at the end, and then you had discussion there as well. So it really made the process go really smoothly in terms of reviewing resumes. I appreciate that you guys thought about time in between each of these this time versus last time where everything was like back to back to back to back, and I had stated it was an aggressive timeline. So I still think it's slightly aggressive, and I do think you might end up adjusting again, but that's my personal opinion in terms of my scheduling and guru-ness that I do here. So just thinking about those things and being open to that adjustment as necessary. So, and yes, I would agree to co-chair. So I just want to put that.
Thank you, Kim.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for all the work that you're putting in. I just wanted to, at 8:30, just kind of draw attention to the length of the meetings. I know that there's so much going on in the past few months and so much content to get through. But I've noticed there's a lot of people at the start of the meetings that want to be present or maybe possibly participate, public participation, but the meetings tend to go really long, so not everyone is able to necessarily participate. And I was curious if you guys had tried other methods. I know some of the agenda is timed, but is there a timekeeper? Have you had a timekeeper? How is that looking? Have you guys had a discussion on that? Just to kind of bring some light to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Look at this. Lamont's gonna.
I know Lamont's gonna kill us. We do have a letter from the diverse learner parents caregiver group that I would love to read out loud.
How about the first paragraph?
It's short, if I can find it.
Technically, you have 1 minute.
No, don't start it. Do you know, if you find it, Matthew?
Can you get Dear members of the LSC and Peirce community, I want to share a few thoughts in response to public comments made at this evening's LSC meeting. As a Peirce parent, I've been reflecting deeply on the conversation taking place in our community around the Arab American Heritage Month Bulletin Board.
Oh, no, not that comment.
that one?
Person wrote back after that and said they don't want it to be read out loud. If you scroll down.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, I was thinking, there was another email concerning the bulletin board where the person wrote in, but then she said in the thread that they did not want it to be read. This is a different one, I'm sorry.
Okay. As a Peirce parent, I've been reflecting deeply on the conversation taking place in our community around the Arab American Heritage Month Bulletin Board. I know this has been painful for many, including my own family, and I believe it's important to approach one another with both honesty and care as we navigate difficult topics, especially when they affect the identities and lived experiences of our students and families. Some have said the display was too political, but I want to challenge what that means and who gets to decide. Labeling something political has long been a way to delegitimize the voices of marginalized communities. When Arab American students and families speak about grief, survival, identity, when they name genocide or plasticide, it's often dismissed as too controversial or complex for school. Some histories of oppression are widely accepted as essential to education. Others, especially when they involve marginalized communities speaking about their own grief, displacement, or survival, are dismissed as too political or controversial. The difference, unfortunately, is not content, it's power. Who gets to tell their story and whose humanity is deemed too complicated to name? Palestinian history, including occupation, displacement, and resistance, is routinely minimized or erased. When Palestinians name their oppression, it's dismissed as political, while other histories are presented as morally clear. This isn't about what's appropriate, it's about whose humanity is acknowledged in our schools. The Facing Race curriculum, like the IB framework, does not ask us to avoid difficult conversations. It asks us to name systems of oppression, understand historical content, and build the tools to challenge injustice. Facing Race teaches that our classrooms are not and have never been neutral. It affirms that silence is a political position. It challenges us to interrogate why certain histories are seen as educational, while others are deemed divisive. Palestinian identity is not merely a geopolitical issue, it's a lived experience. And Arab American Heritage Month is not the time to erase the experience because it makes some people uncomfortable. In fact, discomfort often is a sign of that real learning is taking place. Most of us are raising children who ask hard questions about the world around them. And we're doing our best to meet those questions with honesty. Our kids don't need to be shielded from the existence of violence. They need to be equipped with language, empathy, and historical understanding to process what they see and hear every day. To teach them that some people's pain is too political to name, is to teach them whose lives matter less. I appreciate the LSC's efforts to engage the Board of Education in developing clear, thoughtful guidance around how schools navigate complex and contested issues. At the same time, we don't have to wait for district-wide policies to make meaningful steps here at Peirce. We can foster inclusive dialogue, support marginalized voices, and ensure our classrooms reflect the values of global awareness, critical thinking, and justice we strive to uphold. I'm proud to be part of a school that doesn't shy away from truth, even when it's uncomfortable, and I'm grateful to the educators and community members who create space for these courageous conversations. Sincerely, and Mahmoud, Peirce parent. Yeah, you're right. They wrote back, somebody else wrote back and said.
Yeah, sorry, I thought you were reading that one.
Okay. All right.
Public announcements.
Yeah. checking on norms first. I think that's important. Every time we bring up a topic, whether it's straightforward or needs the required, or it can be, a rough subject, I think that people all the time display grace and are able to articulate their thoughts. I am grateful for that, and I hope that will continue in that vein. So I'd like to thank folks for their patience. We're also get all kinds of feedback, including internally, about how we can make this better meetings, but people still stick around for the most part. So I'm personally appreciative of that. Announcements, comments.
I want to say, as my mom said, we really need to shorten down the meetings. It's been like 3 hours. It's crazy, especially going into the next school year where parents have children to take care of and teachers are planning the next day and I have to do homework. Like, we can't be here for 3 hours. So I want to volunteer to be the timekeeper and stick to the time agenda.
Good luck. Sounds great. Thank you.
And I think for most part, typically it's 7:30. This is like one of not that many.
We also have 2 layers of public comment. So we had a public comment at the beginning when the room was full, but nobody requested to speak. I mean, the people that wanted to speak spoke. And I think that the public comment, I can tell you what time the first one was at. It was at, I don't know, I didn't write it down. It was like a 3 or 4 into the agenda, 3rd or 4th thing.
Yeah, I mean, I hear what Bernard's saying too. Like,
Yeah.
let's put some structure around it. I've been doing, this is my 3rd time, my 3rd cycle. 2 hours usually is the norm. This is not the norm. It is essentially dictated by the topics that we bring into the meeting, always. Timekeeping is great, but we're also part of, this is a monthly meeting, right? Like, so sometimes this is the opportunity that we have. So I'm hoping we can find like a middle ground.
I had one short announcement. I just wanted to say to the LSC, I just want to acknowledge that we are all putting ourselves in a vulnerable position in the community where we have this task to vote on this principal selection, and it's heavy, and there's a lot of different opinions and viewpoints, and we're trying to meet everyone and hear from as many voices as we can and be as transparent as possible. But I just want to state that it's a lonely and heavy task, and you do feel vulnerable when you're in the Peirce community wondering, like, am I doing right by the community? We're all trying our best, but I just want to name that and just express gratitude to everyone.
I have one more thing to say. I come from a region, I come from former Yugoslavia where a lot of war and stuff happened, and it seems like, when you ask 2 different groups to give you their point of view, it always seems like you're gonna get the 2 opposite stories. And I feel like we need to figure out and start to work to kind of put a closure into this whole era, because it seems like now LSC has become a place where 2 groups are kind of doing propaganda or agenda or, expressing their stuff. And it seems like it's just creating a little bit more divide that we're seeing now. And so, I think the point of the letter or asking the Board of Education is because we didn't want to put ourselves into, because you choose one way, obviously the other side is going to get hurt. And so we were trying to find some guidance, and somebody else would tell us, well, this is how it's done, or this is what the policy is, and that was the whole intent. I think I know we're moving the letter for the next time. If we create it, we should make that letter very objective and to the point of what we know and what really happened, without taking any sides or without, creating agenda that looks like it's taking one side, and, get some sort of an answer and put a closure as soon as possible, because it seems like meeting after meeting after meeting, we're reading letters about this, we're getting people speaking about this, and it just seems like it's become a major topic, which I don't underestimate it or undermine it, but we need to put a closure because it seems like we're getting too involved into this and it's becoming a bigger than I think it should be.
And I would like to say, I agree with saying, being an Armenian where family members were genocide and killed, you know, it affects
Right.
family. It affects not just the Arabic or Muslim community or Jewish community. It affects any community that has ever gone through a culture of being genocide.
End of the day, I mean, we're here for the kids
And
and,
we're here for it.
right, we can't
We
be
have, we
creating.
have to move on.
You don't need to convince me.
No, I know.
I know.
I'm just, we need to start working towards
Yeah.
getting some
Resolution.
sort of a resolution or some sort of a end to this because it just seems like this is like the fourth, fifth meeting, we're dealing with all this every single time.
Agree.
Very good. Thank you all. I'd like to remind everyone that early or mid-February is the Argyle Lunar Year Parade. We'd like to have a float for Peirce, so please keep us in mind. With that, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you all. Thank you very much for those of you who stuck around. Thank you.
Oh, man.
Before we get
Done.